Triangle Posture Clinic. Yeah, well, we're gonna get started because it's 9, like as you said. Thank you. I really want to, I got it at the thrift store and I need to put like or not underneath it because this is not a message that I support.
Like not at all costs.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. All right, so we're gonna, like I said, I have a plan and now I'm doubting everything. So let's do a check-in and maybe that'll help me.
Sense the vibes.
Yeah, I've already sensed them.
Vibes, it's mandatory.
I want to hear general check-in and then also how you're doing with the sequence because you had some time off from a posture clinic. And then also what would be helpful for you today moving forward if there's anything specific in mind. Who wants to kick us off? Awesome.
I'm doing really good. I feel like this is kind of, it's still kind of catching up with the holiday and like getting back into normal patterns and just like, I don't know. I just feel like it's like that summer and I'm like vacation and like all that, but I also need to get things together. So it's a little frazzled, but overall good. And sequence wise, I think I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I can do the whole sequence. Just like cueing stuff, just making sure I don't blank and just practicing more.
Awesome. All right. We'll just go around to Sal.
I think I forgot all the questions, sorry.
Anything, just talk.
Well, I'm tired. Yeah, so I work until like 1 a.m. and so I'm just recovering sort of. What are we talking about? Okay, yes, but we're on with the sequence. Okay, cool. Feeling pretty good, like B- with the sequence. Like I wouldn't want to get up and teach it today, like, but I feel like I could stumble my way through it all the way. Adjustments maybe is something that I always want to practice because I just can't practice that by myself.
Yeah. I love that you said that, like I could stumble my way through it. That's a great place to be.
Okay.
So, yeah, awesome.
I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I want to be practicing the sequence more often. I think it's hard because I'm like at the point where I'm like, I just want to practice it all in one go so I can like do it all at one time. And then I'm like, that sounds like a lot and I need to like block off time for that. And then I just don't do it. So for me, I'm like, okay, I need to break it back down again and be doing like individual pieces and rebuild it back up before I'm like pushing away doing the very big thing. Because I agree with Sal, it's like you can do it all at once, but it's also like I want to make sure I'm being very intentional and making sure I'm not just like pushing through to push through.
Okay.
I'm tired. I think the sequence is going well. I'd say kind of similar to Sal. Like I feel like I could probably stumble through. There'd probably be a few pauses of like, what was next? And then I might get it, but yeah, I'll say just kind of forcing myself to go through the sequence without my notes, without like videos at home is also really helpful, just to be like, I don't know, to force myself to walk through it and see how much I know, or to speak it to a mirror type of a thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think if we could do like round robin or flower today, that'd be super helpful. I thought flower was super helpful the first time we did it.
Cool. Okay.
Round robin, both adjustments.
Okay. Yeah.
What were you describing the flower?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you say?
I said round robin, but added adjustments.
Yeah. You're like there's one person who's teaching, 2 people giving adjustments. And then until some like, I don't know, a half series, I think was how they did it last time. Then you switch off. And so then the person who's adjusting is teaching, and then the next person in line like stands up and adjusts, and
Well, that sounds just like round robin.
But it's.
that's how they did flower, I don't know.
Oh, you guys haven't been doing adjustments during round robin?
No.
No, I think that's how we were described that as flower. So when we did flower, we were.
Okay,
And we would just. Be
Yeah.
But
that's
someone was doing it.
really good to know, and that's not going to be the precedent moving forward. So, just so we have clear expectations, and I will clarify that with the teachers. All right, that is.
Oh, I'm sleepy and tired, but hopefully I'll wake up. For the sequence, I'm feeling a little bit behind. Just because I don't think I haven't had a lot of time to block out to just sit down and really sit with it. I've just kind of been like, okay, I'm driving. I know this part, I'll just know it really well, because you can't have the sequence and drive with it. That would be not a great time. But I'm taking off time next week. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to really like have a whole day of just really getting it understood for me, because I'm the type of person that if I can't do it in one sitting, it's really hard for me to get motivation to do it at all. It's just like,
You and me both.
it's like, why would I do it now and I have to do it later? That makes no sense. Yeah, a little uncomfortable with it, but I think that's a good feeling because it's going to kick me into gear a bit more.
Okay.
So, I'm doing okay. It's been an emotionally and mentally draining week. I'm doing okay with the sequence. I give myself a D minus. So I'm proud of myself that I can popcorn, pretty much through, Crescent without looking at notes.
Nice.
But I still have a lot to work to do on the cues and adjustments.
Okay.
I think we were talking about it last time. The only way I can possibly get through cues is if I go off memory from previous vinyasa classes, prior to going up for cues in the manual, and that's really touch and go.
Okay, awesome. Sounds like you made good progress and you've been putting work in.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm doing pretty good. Been rushing around all week, but as far as the sequence goes, I know that I have a whole lot of work to do. But they really set aside a ton of time to actually sit there and memorize it versus looking at it here and there and going through small spurts, kind of like Rhoda was saying. More so coming down to actually putting in time on the schedule to do it versus, oh, I'll just find time. That hasn't been the case. So to that hard realization that I really start studying versus just letting it come to me.
Yeah,
But I'll figure it out.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Exhausted as well, so trying to wake up. Bits and pieces of the sequence I'm remembering. I do notice when I actually have my significant other and I'm trying to teach him, I blank a lot. It's like I guess like a nervous thing really, because when I'm by myself and I'm going through it, I can say it out loud, but it's when it's actually presented, then I'm super nervous. So I do gotta put it, I feel like, more time for studying and actually going to classes as well. That helps me. If I'm doing the classes over and over and then I'm sticking a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's what to do.
Okay, that's a great thing to know about yourself and a good, yeah, tool to have in your pocket.
So, still sick. I was feeling fairly confident in the sequence, but I have been trying to just get better this week. So I feel like I've put a lot of it on the back burner. I need to really like dive into adjustments and cues because again, like there's one thing like when you're just speaking it and then when you see people doing it, especially if it's someone that doesn't do yoga. So I got my neighbor and my landlord to agree to come to my house and help them learn the sequence. And I think it'll really help me to have people that have never really done yoga to see like where I'm lacking in the sequence as far as making people like do the same things and not doing it myself, because I'm really bad because I'm a teacher about just showing people what to do as opposed to just putting them into the positions with my words, if that makes sense. So I really wanna work on that. And just like really getting it like down. I don't think that I could stumble all the way through it. I think I could stumble through parts of it.
Okay.
I don't know if I could all the way through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could probably do like a 30-minute sequence right now.
Okay. Well, seeing as how you've learned like 35 minutes, it's pretty good. Shoot, I wanted to say something else and I forgot, if I remember.
I'm in a little bored, is there somebody behind you? Okay, just make room, you know? I'm feeling melted today still, and I'm striding through it. Hopefully this will turn out to be something that's beneficial in the long term. I try to see everything as an opportunity for growth.
Will you expand on that? What are you hoping is gonna be beneficial in the long term?
I'm hoping that the hardships I face.
Gotcha. Okay.
are gonna be beneficial for.
I didn't know if you meant like triangle posture clinic or.
Well, of course, I do hope that yoga teacher training gives me something that I can take into my everyday life, not just in on the mat, you know. Also, as far as the sequence goes, I am not super confident right now about it. But it's mainly the adjustments. I need to get that kinesthetic learning going on. Yeah, I'd like to do more of those. What are they? The flex times. Those would be really helpful. More of those.
I have no control over that.
I think we have enough.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
The 21st.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
I'm feeling good. No complaints, honestly, just keep doing the work.
Okay, specifically, how is the sequence going for you?
Good, so I haven't worked on it in about a week. But I feel pretty good about it, to be honest. I feel like I've got about half of it down right now. And it helps that I've been practicing with somebody, so that does help a lot. And yeah, I think last week was like, I didn't practice it, but I'm not too worried about it, honestly, you know. I feel like just if you spend 15 minutes a day, you know, that 15 minutes includes overtime. And so I'm just like, let's get back into it, you know, make an hour. And even if it's, you know, usually like Sebastian and I will put the boss and like, they'll talk me through it, or we'll practice it. And one thing I was thinking about was like, even if I just practice the sequence, you know, getting the sequence like downloaded into myself, which will just make it easier to just like, then I'm just focusing on cueing instead of like remembering. Now it's just, you know, let's just cue it. So I'm feeling good, honestly. Just gotta this week make an hour or two and work on it, and by the time it's time to teach out, we'll be good.
You got it. Yeah, awesome. Thanks. All right, and Lily, I remember what I wanted to say to you. Teaching beginners, is so, is so hard. So, I'm glad you're getting experience with it. And also if you're like, oh my gosh, that,
Not for me.
that is accurate. That is an accurate response to, because it is. This isn't, I mean, this is a sequence that you can teach to a beginner when they're in the room with other people who've done it, you know, and but like I would be hard pressed to get through this sequence if it were a room full of only beginners. So just to like, I don't know, normalize that if you're feeling things. That's what I'd wanted to say. All right. Y'all, I'm so torn. Okay, so I am kind of the like tough love posture clinic teacher. I am usually the one to really push you all, and I don't feel like that's the vibe today. I had planned for us round robin, and then as all y'all started to filter in and I started to hear from you, I felt like maybe it would be better if I taught you through the sequence and or we did some stuff with adjustments, but now I hear a lot of you saying round robin, which by the way, round robin is supposed to include adjustments. So the flower is supposed to be okay. So like if you set up your mats, half of you would set up your mats like in the shape of a flower. So like a T and then like a star from there. And then so half of you would be on your mats practicing, the other half of you would be adjusting. And then you would like, after a few poses, like counterclockwise to adjust somebody new. And then we would swap who's adjusting. So it's very adjustment heavy.
Definitely never done that.
Okay. So I guess I'm posing this to you as a question, like, because I don't know how good my vibe check is. I mean, are you all up to do some hard work today?
About sequence, we're just triangle.
No, as like the review.
I think we need to go for it.
You need to go
Yeah.
for it?
Cause I
Okay.
think if we do it for the people who, like, for me, I would tell me like, okay, you
What
really
are
need to get this done.
Mhm.
It would be like, you know, not like, a bite in the ankle, like, come on.
Yeah, okay.
Good to find out what you're missing. 'Cause you
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens, and then you like do it, and then you're like, oh, missed it.
Yeah.
You know, so it points out the little speed bumps.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, and I'll just say this, that I will read the room as best I can and take a gentle approach with those of you who need gentle approaches today. So, okay, just to clarify, yes, moving forward, round robin, this is why I have you set up in this like class format is so that, let's say, Ethan, we're teaching integration, and then Jake, we're on deck to teach the first round of Sun A. Jake they would both be adjusting. And then it's Jake's turn. Ethan would go back to practicing. Jacob would get up and adjust with Jake. Well, he's on deck, and then we would cycle through that way. Miraculously, we have 12 sections and 12 of you. So this is the probably one and only time we will be able to do this, but we can just kind of have like a sign up system for who's going to teach what, because I know that that can sometimes be a stressor. So who wants to teach integration? All right, we're gonna break up Sun A into 3 rounds. Who wants the first round? Lotus. Second round. I have a feeling we're gonna, this is the exact same thing. Third round. Awesome. All right, Sun B, same thing, 1, 2, and 3. Who wants round 1? And 2. I just colored on the wall. Round 3. I hope I'm spelling all of your names right. Core. Thank you, Sal. Crescent.
Are you engaging them?
Thank you, Josh. Utkatasana. Oh, wait, I messed up. Crescent is broken up into 1 and 2. So Josh, I'll give you crescent number 1.
I can just.
Who wants number 2? You can do-
You teach one side and the teaches the other side.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. I've been sick all week and so if I'm, please speak up if I'm not making sense. Utkatasana first round.
Like, I don't know if the words that I'm saying make it.
Yeah. Who do we have? Oh, we must be missing somebody. Christina? Oh, we're missing Al. That's right. Okay. Well, I can take. I
That's
can.
what I was gonna say, I'll just do both sides of crescent.
We'll do both.
I didn't have a problem.
Lily, do you have a preference between crescent and Utkatasana?
I can attend.
Okay. I mean, it's up to you. I'll give you whatever preference you have.
I mean, I need to work on it, so it's fine.
Okay. So I'll give you first round of Utkatasana and then Christina, second round of Utkatasana. And that's it. So I will, I want to step out. I cannot fathom that I am contagious, that there's no world in which I believe I am contagious, but I do want to just wash my hands before I touch you all, and I will make sure not to touch your anywhere like your face or your hands. But that being said, I do want to just pop out and wash my hands really quickly, and then I will adjust with you all so that those of you who are adjusting can also look at me to be like, what do I do? I might stop you for feedback, whoever is teaching. I might have you redo something. I might have no feedback for you. And none of these things are better than, like, if I have no feedback for you, doesn't mean you necessarily did. Yeah, or like, but like, I don't want it to be like, oh, I got feedback, so like, I feel bad about it. And because sometimes it's just like, oh, there's feedback that I need to give, but I don't know what it is or how to say it right now. It's just like, and like you might also be at that place where it's like you're developing these like pearls and it's like, oh, cool. Like I recognize you have a pearl right there. Like, let's make it even shinier. I really try to reframe when people say like, oh, constructive, like I got good feedback and I got constructive feedback. Like it's all good feedback. Like even hearing from a teacher, like, oh, you're really good at this. Like that's stuff for you to still sit with and take with you and work on, because that's something that you want to polish up even more if that's your strong suit. So have you all done voice with Austin yet? No. Okay. Oh man, I'm so excited for you to have it. He'll talk about like your special sauce, but yeah.
For the first round of Sun A, do you want me to do the 3 to 5 breaths or just?
Yep.
go through it?
Yeah, so this is all like timing appropriate. If it's 3 to 5 breaths, hold 3 to 5 breaths. If it's 1 breath per movement, you aim for 1 breath per movement. You're doing adjustments, you're doing cues. And just remember, if your fellow peers are struggling, let them have a good 8 seconds and let yourself have a good 8 seconds before asking for or offering hints. Yeah.
We're gonna just be doing this once because I kind of wanted to polish up some other parts of the sequence.
We will just do it once. Is there anything you're dying to do?
You wanna trade? We can trade.
I'll let you all work it out while I go wash my hands, get set up. Feel free to swap, trade, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have time. So basically how this is gonna go this morning, we'll do this. I expect it'll take us about an hour at max. We'll take a little break, come back and dive into triangle, which we only have 4 poses today. There's only 3 in triangle, and then we're gonna do one from next week, because next week has like 1,000 poses, so, and this week is only has 3, so,
Are you with us next week for
N-
Foster Clinic?
no, Rebecca is, yeah,
Cause they're like, they gotta be on it if we're getting through lots.
so, okay. All right. We'll move back here in 60 seconds, ready to go.
Yeah.
Red pen, it's such all in the same.
Yeah.
I know.
I feel like my vote has a lot of holes in it.
It's okay to think right now.
Same
because
vote
we have
with
a
you,
bunch
and I
of
don't have a house,
lifeguards.
so.
Or we're in shallow water right now.
It's
so-
okay. It's a baby pool.
Does anybody sometime not today for like over?
Next week, we need, get together.
Yeah, I just like to get together and I wanna go, cause I was gone for Uttanasana. And it.
Uttanasana.
Yeah,
It's Katasana.
Uttanasana.
There you go.
And we could get, I mean, we could literally just come here and go across the street to the park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just talking about that with the flex.
I don't know.
Yeah. Group
Okay, well, we
Yeah,
can do
I
it
know,
at
we
night.
I'm trying to like Friday night.
I could do it Friday night
I can do
and
Friday night.
I'll text in the chat, we can use my house.
We could do my house too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Have
like
a park
There's
here.
a decent amount of space to like spread out so people could even like separate.
And
I think that.
you're in Mandan.
I'm in Manitou.
Okay.
But
That's
not in the
super-
downtown.
Super far for me, but my house is super far away, so I feel like going to your house would be
Yeah.
better for everyone.
Very close
like,
to me. so
and
I like
And
that.
it could be like-
Okay.
It could also just be like, some people might be able to get to.
Yeah, we could also split
But
up.
here is nice cause, or near Austin Bluff.
We're talking about
And
having
the
a
next
meeting
Sunday
for
is
everything.
flex.
Good.
Are all of you gonna be, okay.
So
So
are,
we can all
when
practice then.
you're teaching,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
telling
so-
the cue.
Yeah, I'll
all
be
that stuff.
at the
Are you
flex
also
time
doing
as well,
adjustments?
but If we wanna do more.
Okay.
I'll throw it in.
Oh, no, I don't remember the adjustment.
That's what I'm here for. So you're like.
The adjustment is my Achilles heel along with Utkatasana.
You got it.
Jacob, did you end up switching with anybody?
South.
Okay.
No, you're right with the Sunday, right, South?
Yes, totally. I can do that.
Thank y'all. Okay.
I'm so kind of. There's like
Yeah.
half doing it, half
Oh,
adjusting.
sorry.
Yeah,
Thank
I need to
you.
go.
I think it's
Still
like
have
some.
some
everybody-
One teacher.
Curtain thing.
I
Does
don't know if
anybody
like
have
the
any
teacher,
traces?
like the leader is teaching, I didn't quite catch that, but it seems like it's mostly to like drill the
Adjustments. And okay, so this is round.
Robin, which is what we did as
Where-
flower last time.
Okay, which I wasn't here for that, but I kind of understood.
But yeah, it's a lot, it's just like two people.
Yeah, I know. I just, for some reason, none of these are like, it's making sense.
You're good.
So, I won't be here for flex time,
Same.
so if you guys get together,
Yeah, I'll throw something in the group chat,
Just maybe people could write times if they're available.
Yeah.
And then we just start scheduling that.
after class
know
today,
everyone's
I'll throw
so
something in the
busy.
group chat, I loosely like Friday after work time would be what works best for me, and we can use my house.
I'm gonna change my
Um,
schedule.
so, It doesn't have air conditioning, so it's basically like a hot class, so that's fine.
There you go. All right. Ethan, I'll go ahead and have you kick us off. You got, so let this be like, what did we say? Stumbling your way through it.
Yeah.
Let this be I am going to stumble my way through it. You're not using notes, like make all of the mistakes. I will gently be like, you know, just a signal to you of like, hang on, rethink that. That way you're not solidifying what you did in your brain as the,
Yes.
like, if it's correct per the sequence.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it is not like deducting a point. This is not the Olympics. Also, I want to throw out, I've been doing a lot of reflection on just some like things from my childhood, and my sister is 5.5 years older than me.
Sorry, that's the same as
Oh,
my.
yeah,
sister.
and it's a big age gap, and it always made me feel like I was wrong because I wasn't doing what my 12-year-old sister was doing when I was 7, you know, like, And so I'm really trying to reframe this, like, there is more than one right way to do things. So especially when you are cueing, thinking about, like, it doesn't have to be, or like, just look at the bodies, not just, look at the bodies, see what you see. Maybe remember how you felt in this pose previously. If you say anything blatantly unsafe, I'll speak up, but like, honestly, you're probably not going to. The only unsafe thing I hear from people in training is square your hips in Warrior Two. And I know that you all know not to say that. And if you do say it, it's because I just made you nervous about it right now. Absolutely, it's on me. So know that, like, you can probably be like, your toes are alive with the sound of music. And I'll be like, awesome. Okay, so just, there's 1,000 right ways to do this. And we're just gonna muddle our way through it, all right?
Can you call out like who's
Yeah.
popping up next? Cause I just feel like I'm gonna forget.
Yep, no, totally, I
Especially cause
will.
we're not.
Are we doing it?
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Can we do?
on deck,
Can we
get
go?
out. What they're saying?
What?
Never mind.
Your toes are allowed.
No, are we doing the sequence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're doing the sequence.
All
I
right.
don't think I'm alive right now.
Do we see coffee?
I can't.
We don't have to get any poses. Oh, yeah, we haven't been cued yet. I'll just like. Just leaves. We're ready.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to your 9:30 Vinyasa flow class. My name is Ethan Baker. I'm excited for y'all to be here. Let's get this thing rolling. I'm gonna go ahead and get into child's pose. Your big toes together. Your hips to your heels. Finger spread wide. At this point, we're going to get our Ujjayi breath going. Big inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the nose. You're fogging up a mirror. I will be walking around giving hands-on adjustments. If you would like to opt out, please give me a big wave now. I will definitely respect that space. Thank you. Know that you can opt out at any time. This is an ongoing consent. Know that this child's pose is a safe space to where you can always come back throughout the practice. From here, we're going to inhale up to tabletop, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. We're going to have a neutral spine here. Going to exhale into cat. The tailbone tucks. You're pushing away from the ground. Inhale into cow. Belly drops, tailbone lifts. Exhale back in the cat. Inhale back in the cow. Exhale back in the cat. Inhale back in the cow. Find that neutral spine. Walk your hands one handprint forward. Lift your hips, push back into downward facing dog. Great. Length between the head and the tailbone. Pedal off those feet. Inhale, gaze forward. Walk your feet to your hands. Exhale into ragdoll. Let those arms hang heavy, pinkies to elbow creases. Sway back and forth. Inhale, roll up the spine. Face forward. And turn. Exhale, arms go up to extend mountain.
You got the movement right. But the body's getting bigger, so the breath is gonna be a,
Inhale. Inhale, arms go up, extend mountain. Pinky spiral in.
and just do that one again, but from behind. But I'm glad you're adjusting.
Gonna exhale the arms down to heart center. Now is a good time to set your intention for the rest of the class. Whatever you and your heart wants to get out of this.
Awesome. Way to go. Good job. Okay. Yeah. You use the word those a lot. And just remember, that's probably a big thing I'll be pointing out today is what your particular filler words are, because it's going to be different for everybody. So just so you can start to gain some awareness. Those, when you say your toes, your feet, whatever, if you're like your toes are alive with the sound of music, it's like, oh, my toes. If you're like those toes, they're like, it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't connect us with our body. And as a society, we are already by and large very disconnected from our body. And so using your can really kind of help people feel in a little bit more.
How I use those. Now I couldn't think of when I said that.
Those, I don't remember.
Pedal out those feet.
Those feet, yeah, thank you, yeah. Yeah. And then just, yeah, just make sure you're not facing your student's face. Awesome, good work. All right, Jake, you are on deck to assist. Sal, you are on deck to assist. Thank you. I'm literally looking at it. All right, Lotus, take us away. Thank you.
Inhale, extended them. Round through the feet. Exhale. Forward fold. Hinge from the hips, lean towards the heart. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins or your core is engaged. Think of the 7 shape for your back. Drawing the shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. Exhale to exhale to high plank toes bend, step back with 3 plank the hands. Engage the core. Exhale to open.
Where specifically?
Where specifically with plant the hands.
Exhale to where?
low plank or to the belly.
There you go.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And the volume you're speaking at now is great.
Okay.
When you, 5 seconds ago, we could barely hear you back here.
Okay.
So be like,
We got it.
I'm gonna say wrong things as loudly as I can, if that's the fear, you know?
Okay.
Inhale, baby cobra. It's a back strengthener. Press down have your hands lightly above the mat. Press your ankles down to the ground. Exhale, relax. Do you have 2 more things?
That's you.
Okay. Inhale, baby cobra, push down from the ground with your ankles, hands lightly fluttering above the mat. Exhale, down to the mat. One more time. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale. Relax the body. Plant the hands, lift the hips back up, downward facing dog. You want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
You can go back down to your knees. I'm going to demo our 2, 3 options for our half series. I'll just do it here. So the first one is the one that we just did. From downward facing dog, you go lower down to the belly into baby cobra. Exhale. The second option is upward facing dog. So you go from high plank to half plank with the feet push down. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. The third option is just to go straight into downward facing dog. And for both, for upward facing dog and downward cobra, you can lower down to your knees, especially for baby cobra. For upward facing dog, you can lower down to your knees and lift from the ankles and go back up into upward facing dog. Whatever is in practice today.
Can we just keep cheering for each other today? What was your question?
Was I loud enough when I was doing that, or was it a little?
It was too quiet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
hard to.
it is hard.
Oh my goodness.
But it was also happening before you were doing that.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
volume, projecting, especially in this room. I do not like teaching in this room because it is just like an echo chamber in here. And you can even shorten that just a tiny bit at the end, be like, for my, in either variation, you can take plank from the knees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Sal, and then now Jake, for realsies, you are adjusting.
All right, meet back in downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, feet to hands. It's not. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, Uttanasana. And again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant hands, step back. Low, take a half series. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down.
Woo, you threw my hair in front of that. All right, Reba, you are adjusting.
Inhale, gaze forward. Inhale, repeat the hands forward folds. Inhale, extended mountain.
Something before there.
Is there, inhale, halfway lift.
Got it.
Exhale, forward folds. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plank to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog.
Oh, all right, Maggie, you're adjusting. And so if I'm giving weird adjustments, or if I leave you halfway through, it's because I'm trying to help the adjustment, not with you.
Inhale, look forward. Exhale, feet come up to meet your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Sink your hips back. Your feet can go hip width distance, or they can be together. Shift your weight into your heels. Keep extending your torso long. Find length in the crown of your head. Inhale, extend. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Find extension through the neck. Exhale, high to low plank, chaturanga. Step feet back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right leg high. Pause here. Square the hips down, bringing the right hip to meet the left. Continue to find length in the spine. Push through your back heel as if you're pushing through the back wall. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. Surf it out here. You can find any movements that feel good. You can shift your hip back into a half split. Just feel it out. On your next breath, go back to a neutral lunge, low lunge. Inhale, spiral the back foot down, warrior two. Bring your right knee over the right three middle toes. Pull your left hip slightly forward. Find length in your arms as if they were being pulled apart. Head is neutral. Let's press evenly through the feet. Make sure that the back foot is along the back edge of your mat. Exhale, sink just a little bit deeper. Inhale, stretch the torso forward. Exhale, extended side angle, tick-tock the arms. Your legs will stay the same. You can either find your elbow on your right knee, or you can keep your arms long. Head is up towards the ceiling. Find length in the spine. Keep the crown of your head extended outward. Inhale, reverse warrior. Bring the arms to the back of the room. Extend, keep extending the torso long. Feel as if you're giving the wall in the back room a high five. Exhale, exhale, cartwheel the arms down, high to low plank. Step the foot back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog.
You still got the left side to go.
Okay.
Will
I'm not
you,
doing that. You want me to?
hip
look
adjustments on the
side?
side, and if you want to, you can maybe take Lotus, we can do a little swappy here, that way you can see me if you're with Lotus.
Yeah. All right. Inhale your left leg high. Pause here. Square the hips. Bring that left hip down slightly to meet the right. Find length through the torso. Pushing back through the left heel. Exhale, low lunge. Surf it out here. Find splits. And this side might feel a little bit different than the other side, and that's perfectly normal. Make your way back to a neutral low lunge. Inhale. Inhale, spiral the back foot down, warrior two. Track your left knee over the right or over the left three toes. Drop that front hip just slightly forward. Keep lengthening the spine. Bend through the arms forward and back. Exhale, sink just a little bit deeper. Inhale, reach the torso forward. Exhale, extended side angle. Legs stay where they are. Find length through the torso. Arms reach up and down through, arms right up to the top of the room and down. Exhale. Inhale, reverse warrior. Legs stay where they are. Sink deep into that left lunge. Keep finding extension through that left side body. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Or skip it. Exhale, downward facing. Woo!
There you go.
Nerves.
Yeah. I would say just do it like, yeah, you can move a little bit quicker
Yeah,
than you
okay.
are, but I know you were using that time to think, and that's exactly what we want.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. Mackenzie, awesome. You stood up. Thank you. All right, Maggie, take us away. Well, so I'm to say to everybody. Oh, just remember, like, not to be too grabby with fingertips and adjustments. Like, not saying that you can't, and right, use your discernment on when, like, we don't want to be putting fingertips into sensitive areas. Doesn't mean that there aren't times when you can't use your whole hand, but pressure throughout the whole surface. Yeah.
I've heard them called princess hands, like in dancing.
Oh, yeah.
You can just have your hands like princess hands.
Mhm. Yeah, like a lot of especially in these adjustments in Sun-B, it's like, especially on the rib cage, like not getting too grabby with the fingertips and letting the pressure come from like the palm of your hand on the rib cage and stuff. Awesome. All right.
All right, so we're in downward facing dog.
Y'all are doing great. Hang on, before you go any further, can y'all come back down for a minute? Can we just be like, do it again, so make noise. One more, get really like weird with it. Yes. All right, we got this.
All right, everybody can start in downward facing dog, please. Thank you. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, feet to hands to forward fold.
Inhale, standing halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, standing halfway lift. Exhale, half series, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lift, three-legged down dog. Exhale, lunge. Spiral the back foot down, inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, plank to low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. I need to do adjustments now, I know. Okay. Inhale, left leg lift. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, warrior two, curl the back foot down. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, take your half series, plank to low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog.
Done. All right, Jacob on deck doing adjustments.
All right, we've already made it through two of our sun Bs, so this next one doesn't have any chair, so maybe that's a relief, maybe not. Go ahead when you're ready, inhale, lift the right leg up. Continuing to keep that good form, shoulders stay facing the mat, pushing that back heel into the wall, and exhale, bringing the right foot between the hands, low lunge. Inhale to warrior two, spinning the back foot, being parallel with the edge of your mat. Staying nice and tall here and engaging the core. Exhale, come to extended side angle. Inhale to reverse warrior. Finding length through the side body. Exhale, bringing both hands around the foot. Plank to low plank. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale, coming to downward dog. Great job. Now we've got it on the left side. Starting here, inhale, lift the left leg up, keeping shoulders facing the mat, reaching a little bit higher. Then exhale, bringing the foot in between the hands, low lunge. Inhale to warrior two on this side. Finding your balance here, making sure that knee is tracking with the front three toes, making a nice, beautiful line here and creating length. Exhale to warrior two, or yep, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Staying with your breath here. Exhale, bring both hands back down to the mat. Plank to low plank. Taking it at your pace. We're skipping it all together. Exhale, meeting back and downward facing dog.
Woo-hoo. Okay. Awesome. I would, both of y'all had really good pace for where you're at. I would make sure, and this is good for everybody, well, I was gonna say especially one breath per movement, but also especially when you're not doing one breath per movement. So especially when you're teaching yoga, breathe so that you can feel out the pace. Yeah, awesome. All right, take it away. Yeah.
Everybody come down to your mat.
Use this if you want.
We're gonna start with our course part of the series. So I'm going to blink, but we're going to get into Adho Mukha Svanasana.
I have no idea.
Okay,
Okay,
oh,
yeah.
that's right, it's super
It's upward facing dog. But before you go further, something you could do at this point is like take a moment. So you've got them on the floor. And like, this is, let's say you've been teaching this whole time, right? Like, look at them and like make eye contact, smile. How y'all doing? You know, like this is your first time to like face-to-face interaction. You also don't have to. You can be like, let's do some sit-ups, but.
All right, how's everybody doing? All right, so now we're gonna get into Supta Baddha Konasana. So I'm gonna show you from this angle actually. So your knees are making a diamond shape, your feet are on the ground, and you're gonna interlace your fingers behind your head.
And so just so you know, nobody's doing this.
Okay, you can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Or like have them be like, come on down here, back with me, you know?
All right, and then we're gonna exhale, bring it up. And inhale back down.
And all the cues you were giving were great, but just so you know, like.
Yeah, I wasn't really noticing that. Thank you. Exhale, bring it up. Inhale back down. This is this part of the series. You guys can go at your own pace. You don't need to follow my breath movement. They go like, let's do 4 or 5 more of those. I have questions. Okay.
You all don't actually have to do this unless you want to. What are your questions?
This is, I don't need to do very many adjustments, right, during this time.
When are you gonna give there's 2 that you could give adjustments in.
Is it bridge and?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so next, so we have that one, and then bicycle. All right, now while everybody's still on their back, you're gonna bring your knees up to a 90-degree angle or as high as you can, and keep those fingers interlaced behind the head. You can go start from left elbow to right knee on an exhale. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, left knee to right elbow.
Tricky, huh?
Yeah.
What if you just said twist to the right?
Twist to the right.
Inhale, back to center.
Does that work?
Exhale, twist to the left.
I don't know. I think that would like take away from like the other parts of the movement.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's fair.
You got your own pace, everybody?
But you're right, it's like, that's the solution to, this is really difficult to cue. Right shoulder to left knee, and you're mirroring them, so you're having to flip this around in your brain.
Okay, and whenever you guys feel ready, you can go ahead and bring it back down and boat goes under the bridge. Okay, so everybody keep your knees hip width distance apart.
It's true, but they are flipped.
I know about the boat. Slide first.
Yeah.
Right?
Look,
Okay.
this is bridge.
This is bridge?
Yeah.
I think this is boat.
No, that's bridge.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, everybody.
What you said.
And the boat goes under the bridge, yeah.
You're not-
I've never heard that before.
It's me.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember the difference. All right, so feet are hip width distance apart still, and we got, you can put a block in between there.
Josh, you wanna adjust with me?
Um,
Okay, for sure. You go.
and this is fine, if you're here with boat, this is just fine, this is great. to boat. You can always bring one foot up at a time. And also lift. Continue to breathe through the motion. Exhale, bring it all the way back down to your back. No. Right. Make sure that your
And
your
there's
head is-
something very important here.
yes, it's the head is firmly like directly looking straight and at the top of the room.
Yes, and so you want to be able to see that.
Oh,
So you, there you go.
makes sense. All right. Now, everybody, we're gonna be going into boat, so exhale, lifting the
Bridge.
hips, ensuring that the neck is firmly
Bridge.
bridged. Did I say boat?
Just to get it uncrossed in your head for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're making bridges with their body.
Exhale, bridge. We'll be lifting up the hips. Okay, so make sure that the neck is facing directly ahead. The arms can come behind you and interlace back. Ensuring that you're pressing into your shoulders, and making sure not a whole lot of weight is going into your neck. You're holding it steady. Yeah.
You can all come down. I wouldn't do this adjustment without first correcting the feet. I would say, do you want to try scooching your feet in a little bit closer to you? Lift back up and see, does that feel better? That's okay. Now, that's a great adjustment for you.
All right. I'm gonna be putting my arms here. I don't know how to say that. Because like.
Press into my hand. I do understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate it, but it's probably not necessary.
Okay. Sorry.
Bridge has the weirdest ones.
Well,
More.
I'm in front. I know, you're on camera this whole day. Were you, did you know you were gonna be center? It's okay, I'm just thinking.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Now you
I was
both are.
just like, there we go.
Nobody's, I mean, you're all here, so this is only for reference. Awesome.
Ow.
Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I forgot to write, okay, I gotta make that note. Alrighty. Josh, you got both sides of crescents. Lily, you are on deck to adjust. Alright, and a round of applause.
Nothing, I'm just super lightheaded.
Oh, no.
For sitting.
Well, take your time and yeah, we need to.
Okay.
Buddy, need a water break?
Do you need to box with messenger? Okay, I do. Yeah.
Everybody, please make your way to downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, low lunge, step the right leg through. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to center, prayer hands. Inhale, lengthen the torso forward. Exhale, revolve crescent.
Inhale back to crescent.
Will you come back for a second and give a cue here? In revolve.
Oh. Um. What would be a cue?
Well, look at them.
Yes, okay. Well, oh, like, are they in revolve or they're in revolve?
They're in revolve.
Okay. they're
Yeah,
in
so what are some things you want them to think about
Okay,
here?
so, inhale. With each inhale. Extend the spine,
Mhm.
the spine.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, so, with each inhale, extend the spine. Why am I stuck now?
So think Danielle can relax. Think to anatomy real quick. So we're doing axial extension on the inhale.
Right,
And then what's the big thing happening in this twist?
I know, that's why I was like.
So on the exhale. Twist.
okay.
Yeah, you're just overthinking it.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I think I'm supposed to, but, okay, I got you.
So say it all together. Here, I'll be the student, so y'all can relax.
Okay, so inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, twist.
Boom. Bring them back out now.
Okay. So are we still in revolve?
Yep.
Yes.
Alright, so inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, twist. Inhale, back to crescent. Exhale, lizard lunge, bring your hands to the inside of the right leg. Inhale, you can step your right foot forward a little bit if you'd like. Find a good sensation here. If it feels good, you can open up that right leg. If you feel comfortable, you can go down to your elbows here. And we'll be here for a couple breaths.
And what's the big safety cue if you externally rotate? About the foot. Protects the knee.
Thanks.
Can we tell you? Flex it.
Flex the
Flex the foot.
flex the foot.
So if the knee falls out away from you, which you just gave that option, just make sure to keep the front foot flexed and activated. That, and I shouldn't say the word just.
If your right foot is forward, remember to flex the foot for safety reasons. I don't even know if that need to say that. But should I accept that? or-
I kind of like to sometimes, like, this is
Okay.
one, I'm like, hey, this is one you really want to take seriously.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Not bad.
Inhale back to, inhale, swing the right leg back to plank. Inhale, side plank. Engage the core here.
What side lifts?
Right side lifts, plant the left hand firm, engage the core. Exhale, back to plank. And plank to low plank, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog.
Awesome. I'm gonna pause you right there. Come on down, everybody. Take a moment. Good work. That was a. That's heavy.
I've helped you guys in some of in the plank a little too long, and I apologize.
Okay.
Like.
Doing strong.
Yeah.
Do the other side
You're gonna
too.
do the other side. You're gonna do, what pose are you gonna do an adjustment in? revolved crescents, lizard lunge, crescent, side plank, choose one.
I will do, revolve crescent.
All right.
because I feel like that's a good one
Yeah,
to practice.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so I apologize, that was a rough first one,
No,
but
no apologies for this.
everybody's doing great. I feel like it's actually like waking us up a little bit.
Yeah, cause like if you were to.
Everybody's doing
right now, which
awesome.
way would you go?
All right,
Sorry, what?
ready?
Okay.
Alright, cool. So back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, low lunge, bring your left leg through. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to center, prayer hands. Inhale, lengthen the torso forward. Exhale, revolved crescent. Right, just. With every inhale, lengthen the spine, and every exhale, twist a little bit. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, lizard lunge. Bring your hands down to the inside of your left leg. Here you can surf it out. You can also move your left leg forward. And if your left leg is forward, make sure to flex that left foot. And if you feel comfortable, you can bring your hands down to your you can bring your elbows down to the mat. Inhale back to plank. All right, so inhale, side plank, plant your right hand firm to the mat. Engage the core.
Those doing high fives, say, press in my hand.
Press in my hand. Exhale, back to plank. Exhale, go take your half series, exhale, low plank to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing. Downward facing dog.
Okay. Okay. Good work. Okay, so two things before I forget. So side plank transition and then the side plank adjustment as well. So you're right, because I saw your wheels literally turning. So it's, inhale, step back to high plank, exhale, hold. Inhale, side plank. What I like to do, I don't know, it seems stepwise to me, is be like, inhale, high plank, exhale, ground your right hand underneath your face. Inhale, side plank, and you're just kind of smushing a couple things together there. When you're doing the high five, as we saw, I think this is what I was doing with Lily and Reba. You're like, okay, press in my hand, so they're pressing in your hand. And then you're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna let go now. When it's time, because then they can like recalibrate. So you're not just like face plant. You're welcome. All right.
Here's your adjustment.
Deeper. So for the side plank, you're on the other side of them. Like if you're side plank, somebody is coming behind you and pressing that way, and you're not, I don't know, it's like you don't want them to press too far forward. You want them to still be like arms in line.
Yeah, yes, you're pressing, so it's not gonna be like press into my hand and you let them press super far forward. You're keeping the tension there so that they stay pretty much in the same place, but now they're
Engage.
engaging a lot more, and then you can use it to kind of track upwards and lift a little bit. And yes, you're not facing them, you're doing it from behind.
And then the other one, when you were doing it, you said to somebody like lift your hips, like, is that an adjustment?
Oh, it might be in your book.
I think it is.
Okay, I think, yeah, it was somewhere with the hips or the rib, yeah, to
Because,
just
yeah, if
kind
you
of
were
provide a
like-
little bit of a lift.
If you were like collapse.
Mm-hmm,
you like have
Okay.
yeah.
For cycling?
Recycling?
Yeah.
Oh, for side plank, I think I said recycling.
Yeah.
For side plank, yes.
Or at least it's one that I think Caleb taught.
And it
We
should be
did
in
it,
the book.
but I don't remember. if
Yeah,
it's
it's
in the
just
book.
lift the hip.
Okay, awesome, great.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome, Josh, great.
Nobody wants to talk.
Lily ran to the
Lily
bathroom.
ran away.
Christina, do you want to take us off with, well, we don't have to. Okay, if you want to.
I want to demo.
You wanna demo Crow? Okay.
And like, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, we'll wait then. I will say, yeah. Yeah, totally. Y'all are doing great. I'm so proud of you. And that doesn't matter though. I hope that you're proud of yourself. Whatever part that you've had today, whatever, I think you're all coming from very similar yet very different, like, things that you need to work on. But just super, super job, like showing up and doing the thing and stumbling your way through it. All right. I was just giving a pep talk.
Okay,
Rachel,
sorry.
'cause that's what I like to do.
But I don't know if I should.
No, thank you.
I think he's done such a good job. Like when we were all going around, it was like, oh, I don't know. And then now hearing it, I'm like, oh, we were just like really like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And then we do it and we're like,
Yeah,
we're good.
yeah, yeah, you're doing fantastic. It feels like really fertile ground, like there's a lot to be cleaned up, but like you're tracking, like you're in the place where we can start cleaning those things up, and that is phenomenal. So really great job. Yeah. All right,
All right, super nervous, sorry.
cool. Be afraid and do it anyway.
You're not down dog. Inhale, find your gaze, drishti, forward. Exhale, forward fold. Feet to hands. Inhale, chair pose. Really start to root down into that left foot. We're gonna bring right knee over left, right arm under left. Really find your yogi hug here. That's in your practice. Lift your elbows. Find your gaze in between your hands and try and find that drishti. Like an eagle would. Inhale, extended mountain. Relax your shoulders. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, extended mountain. Go.
Well, you could, so if you're gonna go that route, then I'll just have you all, oh, yeah.
I'm just go down to a gorilla. Yeah, so I just went backwards on that. Should have done that first, but okay, so. Brain back here. Hands under feet, toes to wrist.
Two fists width distance apart, you wait to the balls of your feet. Take a couple breaths here.
Inhale, extended mountain. Pause. So especially after grilling, you wanna make sure you get a halfway lift in there.
Okay.
And then if you're, that's fine to skip the half series here, but then it'll be Christina's turn. Otherwise, you would go back to downward facing dog and.
Oh,
then
so I'm
it's
not
Christina's turn.
going all
You're doing the first
the way? Okay,
round.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, sorry, so inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, some extended mountain to the back.
Let's go ahead and skip the half series just for y'all's sake. And then I'll just take a small talk. Awesome, great work. And then Ethan, you'll be adjusting. Yeah.
I anticipated doing a lot better.
No, and I wasn't here with you.
That was
Either, so.
crazy.
Okay.
Starting in a downward dog.
From forward fold,
Oh,
we're just
okay.
skipping the half series.
So inhale, this forward, extended, forward fold.
So we just finished gorilla.
Yeah.
And so you can just skip the half series there and just go inhale, halfway lift, exhale, forward fold, inhale, extended, or inhale, chair pose
Okay.
for the second side of eagle.
Inhale, halfway lift. Oh, sorry, am I starting from a chair?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
And then exhale, chair. Oh,
Forward fold. No, and I'm throwing you off, I think. No.
Inhale, chair.
There you go.
Right. Move into our right foot, and we're going to bring our left foot over right knee. Left arm under our right arm for eagle. Each inhale, lengthen your torso. Each exhale, reduce your core. Exhale, extended mountain.
Inhale.
Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. I'm gonna demo the pro for you guys. You're gonna challenge yourself here. You're gonna start out with your hands shoulder width apart. Slight bend in your elbows. And then big toes to touch. Get your knees as close to your triceps as you can. Now from here, make sure that your gaze is forward. And then you are going to either one foot at a time. You can also use a block too to kind of give you more. And then with time, lift yourself up if you can. And then cue them through it.
Yeah, so I would, when you start to demo crow, be like, I'll demo it, but if you know it, you can go ahead and play around. And that way they get more time with it if they want it.
Okay.
But yeah, at this point, you would just be like, all right, your turn. And then, yeah, so probably though, they're gonna need some reminders. So go ahead and talk them through it.
So remember, hands to your mat, fingers spread wide. Hands are shoulder width apart, slight bend in your knees, slight bend in your elbows. Bring your knees to your triceps. And lean forward.
Be like, if you want a spot or any further direction, give me a wave.
If you would like any further directions or need a spot, please give me a wave.
Yeah, and then the spot, yeah.
Oh, and then, okay.
So when you do, if somebody is like, yeah, I want a spot,
Yeah, I want a spot.
Okay, so Ethan wants a spot. Great, so you're gonna come over to
Team player, Ethan, team player.
Ethan. So go, yeah, show us what you would do. Mhm. So bring your hands like 6 inches in front of his shoulders. Yeah, and keep, and then now as he moves forward, you move forward with him too. So your hands aren't actually on his shoulders
Okay.
during the spot. They're always, so can I try?
Yes. please.
So be like, all right. Right. Hands here, and now I'm just kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
To like if he falls.
Mhm. It's a comfort, it's a spot, it's not.
I was like, sorry,
Emotional
pushing
Yeah,
back.
that's what, that's what happens is a lot of people ask for a spot and then the teacher doesn't let them get into it because you're pressing them back, yeah. Accidentally, so just be like, all right, start with your hands a couple inches in front of their shoulders and just move with them and you still maintain that distance between.
And essentially, am I bent down the whole time doing? this?
Yeah, I would be like in a Malasana-y type shape. Okay, yeah.
And if they did fall forward, what's your catching like strategy? Is it just kind of,
Never happened.
You gonna try?
oh, could you pretend?
I can't, I just don't know how realistic it, like, to be like honest, it's like, I don't know, cause I mean, it's just gonna be a gut instinct
Yeah.
that like if they start to fall,
You
Catch
just
them.
You just-
naturally-
yeah, you just,
Okay,
I don't think
was
it's
wondering
something
if that's
that,
maybe practice or if that just sort of.
I think
No.
it's like, you can look at me and I'm falling for
Yeah.
a little bit, and usually like I can catch myself, like I'll lean
Yeah.
backwards. And I feel like you can kind of tell when the person is either like, okay, yep, and they're falling forward, and I think what I would do is I would support the shoulders and slightly push back.
Yeah.
Because you'd rather them roll on their back than their head.
yeah, definitely, no, definitely, I just, it's a good thought to practice it. But I think it's just gonna be so instinctual that you're gonna do what Lotus just said of like, you're just gonna try to catch their shoulders,
And tip them back. the
and
other
tip them,
way.
yeah. And maybe even not tip them back the other way, even if they can stabilize where you are. It just depends on how it's all happening.
Right.
I would assume also like the size differential on a
Oh,
person, like
yeah.
if they're 2 feet taller than you type of thing, it's like, okay, yeah, you might just be pushing them back, so you're like, I probably can't support you, or. something.
Yeah, well, and if somebody starts to fall out of it and you catch them, they're not gonna stay there.
Yeah.
They're gonna come out of the pose as soon as possible, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I had a question about adjustment. So you said that we go through them like as we're doing that.
Yeah, let's
whole
get that.
But do we stay with them on both sides? Because you said that if we adjust them on one side, that you're supposed to do the other.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yep.
So you just stay with them through that whole, okay.
Which I did not do today because I was trying to juggle things, but so if you're like, wait, I only got adjusted on one side of Sun B, sorry. But yes, in a class, it's like, yep, you're with them.
And I know
Here.
we're moving like a lot
and-
slower than like we would be if we were teaching a class,
Mhm.
but I just wanted to make sure that like I wasn't spending way too much time with Reba and that was what we were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, no, and there's a couple schools of thoughts on adjustments, but you're gonna have a whole section of that with Laura and also a whole practice teach devoted to adjustments, so I'm not gonna get into it, but,
I know that's-
but yes, but stay with them. Yeah, stay with them and, no, so you're not just like halfway lift, next person, extended mountain, like,
I mean, when I'm teaching it, I only have like 2 or 3 people anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and forth between like the people that I'm teaching, but I just wanted to make sure that like I did it like I was supposed to.
Yeah, I would say even when you have 2 people, stay with them for a few poses at a time. And you'll figure out the ones that make most sense to just kind of like, well, be with them for a little vignette or be with them for a whole Sun A and then swap instead of, extended mountain, forward fold.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Great work. How do you all feel? Do you feel proud?
Sweating.
Okay, and you're sweating and you're shaking and you did it. And it might have been you. I don't know. Somebody was like, oh, no, it wasn't you. But somebody was like, oh, I'm so scared. And it's like, great. Like you're doing it scared. And that is how you have to do it. If you were around, I don't know why I was going to be like my Sunday class. I am always nervous. 100% of the time before my Sunday class. And the poor Seva at the front desk hears about it every single week. Cause I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. My heart is like about to beat out of my chest. Monday is kind of hit or miss on how nervous I am. Thursdays, I'm usually nervous. But like, been doing this for 7 years now. And it's like, you just have to do it nervous. You have to do it scared if you're going to do it. And, once I'm in there, it's usually fine, but I just want to normalize that too and give you a huge pat on the back because it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm nervous. I'm just not going to do it, but just to be like, I'm just going to put myself out there. And when you get nervous, you can start focusing on your student instead. And being like, oh, am I giving them an adjustment? Am I giving them this adjustment because this is where they told me to put my hands? Or am I giving this adjustment because like, I want to help you feel good? Like, is it like, oh, I'm giving you a little back shoulder rub in extended or mountain pose versus like, oh, I'm really gonna like be with you and like help you feel good. So just some things to think about, but I'm super impressed. Good job, everybody. Let's take 9. Come back at 10:45. We're going to popcorn triangle series and then get into the poses. Or I may teach you through it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I know how teaching beginners knows. What's it's like right. Well, yeah, that's why I want to practice on this, because at least you have like a relative idea of what the shapes the shapes. And then I have to do the 12-year-old, and then like the kids. The kids that are going to like kindergarten kind of get it, but they've like started to like actually do it, and they're like, oh, this is fun. But then the other ones are like, what's happening right now? And then they're just like, this is like, oh, no, that's not nice.
It's also like, sure of what you're doing. It's like, how do you move your body? And like, how?
I was talking about this with my, and it's really, this is. Well, I'm sorry. Because like whenever like we get trouble with oh, smart.
I didn't absolutely.
No, you came up here and you taught yoga to people. It's amazing.
Do I just say it? I'm saying it loud.
Yeah,
That's
Oh,
And I was like, that's what I'm doing. But if I didn't say do you know how I really do it? You know, but in Cologne, I'll never.
The nerves, I feel like nerves are, like we all kind of like look at them as that. But if you didn't have a nervous energy, I think you wouldn't show up.
Anxiety would help you forward.
Yeah, you wouldn't, like, to me, it's like whenever I've been nervous, it's like I have to focus really hard. Yeah, and like, you wanna get like less nervous, I suppose, in a sense, but like, I do feel like it's like. For that reason,
I can't see it as yoga.
yeah,
It's a lot stretching stuff, and so that was the same feeling, just emotionally. Almost like there's more links to yoga. That's awesome. No, isn't that crazy?
and I also think it'll be so like.
This crumbles. I mean, it's the Nature Valley one. They were granola once and they want to be granola again.
I'm not a huge fan of the Nature Valley bars.
Are you kidding me?
I think they're, I don't like, if I'm gonna eat something messy, I want like a bowl. I'm a granola to be.
Yeah, same.
I mean, I know I. I'm-
This is the only thing.
I do the same thing. I find like a thing that you like and continue to eat it.
And chips, like, I will eat that every single meal, because I'm just.
What?
Oh, it's so easy.
I know, I didn't know. I didn't know we had to, and then I went to like a
In Hummus,
reptile
like that's my.
festival. It was an accident.
But I
It was
eat
at a
too much,
movie.
like, I definitely am like, I need to throw.
Like, well, this is weird, but yeah, so I like got out of the movie and I was like, oh, reptile festival. And then
I was like, there's everything, there's like, save the bees and save the wildflowers and save the pollinators. Gotta save the frogs too. I'm like, I don't know. Everything.
Having fires and everything, yeah.
Yes. Every living creature.
Yeah. I think it's funny, because I feel like a lot of that stuff was the one that you're like, this is the worst place ever, and then you practice it.
Are you
and
talking
it's
about-
like,
It's not the
It's not that.
Well, you have a light bulb moment of like,
Okay.
So I'm
oh, here's how I do that, like with that weird twitch that it.
So, what really, and then I have sustainability minors.
No, dude, I feel the same way, because
It's the
like,
before,
like,
like,
yeah,
yes,
you,
yes,
I got a different video with
You know what
like
the
10-year
water
on
cycle is.
it.
You know, so it's all stuff that I just,
Even,
I'm just glad to get it.
it's
over.
killing my mistake.
I think they taught us in third grade actually, like why am I living?
It's like you're reverting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think. I don't think one of the hardest.
Yeah, they're
Right. Hopefully it'll be.
good. It was on-
Like maybe they'll touch some things you've ever heard of. but-
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, no, I've heard of the ocean before.
Yeah.
I know that it's big warmer, like.
Right, right.
Yeah. One little. Or was that Natchez Publisher?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hi, I didn't know you were in here. Oh, you didn't get a sub, I'm sorry. I didn't either, I tried to get a sub for this morning.
I'm having Mongo during cooking yesterday. Mom, have you gone on any hikes today? Or any hikes so far? My eyes twitching. It's like, you need to drive by my house. It's insane. So I was having Mongo. So it's
Mm,
fine.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Right.
Yeah, drive by my house at 10.
I did recently.
It's nuts. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
I was saying like. I think I might.
I would love to live there.
I love Saturdays. 'Cause I feel like my kids do cross country in the fall, like, I can't teach all of.
They're so
Because they have meets on Saturdays, and like, why, like.
shoot. Yeah.
I can't, and it's like senior year, so I can't miss track of my cross country.
Yeah. Rebecca just gave up her Saturday. I was shocked, and she's like, I haven't even looked back, like, it's been the best decision for my family.
Yeah, like, it's just like, yeah, that, like, I need to be there for you.
Hard decision. Yeah. I love you, I'm glad I got, I've been thinking of you.
It's been crazy.
Okay, so we're giving.
What's that? Till lunch. I've been so sick. But if we're like, I don't think I can handle the heat. But ask me any other time, because I've been wanting to.
Yeah, no, at one point there was like a reindeer bike show sale.
Your sister's 5 years.
Yeah,
and a half with you?
That is crazy, because my sister is, I think, 5 years, and I think her first, maybe 3 months.
Hmm.
One of my really good friends.
Variation of, she was born in April.
She's 4 months older, yeah, 5 years, 4 months. Yeah.
That is crazy. You were saying about.
Mhm.
Stuff.
Or something. And they moved.
Is she the only sibling you have?
Yeah.
I would love to hear your experience, because as I get older and I try to figure out what the hell is wrong with me, I'm like,
I'm having a lot of issues with your sister right now. Stuff where you're like, okay.
And- All right.
That's like last one, something I'm keeping on.
Yeah, I didn't.
All right, let's start to wrap it back up or circle back in. Whichever way you want to view that. I overheard a little bit of a conversation y'all were having back here about anxiety and I remember being in teacher training and just being like, why would I want to practice this sequence? I suck at it and it doesn't feel good to like spend time doing something that you feel like you suck at. And you gotta suck till you shut, yeah. And it was originally Laura
Okay.
back in the day, but so I'm sure, yeah, we all say it now. We all say a lot that was originally from Laura. Oh, so one thing to consider, I forget the actual statistic, but you learn so like miles and miles easier than if you are in a playful mindset than if you are in a mindset where it's like stressed and it feels like work. So like if you want to make it a game somehow with yourself, with each other, or even your like mindset and attitude, that's like, oh, cute little Erica making those cute little mistakes, using those and that's again, or whatever, just like, but just to kind of have that attitude. I just feel like I got to a place where it's really easy for me to prepare for yoga teaching in a way that doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. And then it's more just like, oh, fun, like, and so the sooner you can figure out how your brain works and how to be in that mindset, I would say better, because it's really nice to not hate yourself. I say that jokingly. Can you tell? All right. Let's popcorn triangle. So we'll start with Ethan. We'll zig our way down this aisle and then we'll zag our way down this back aisle just to keep it straight. I will be a body that you can watch. Sound good? All right. Thanks for dealing with I'm like all of a sudden my brain. I know, okay, sorry, I want to say one more thing. I know a lot of you came in today really tired and you might still probably be feeling very tired, and just great job. You're doing great. It's all okay. Some days it's hard to be here and that's okay. And we got this. So. Well, right. So we're starting in downward facing dog.
Inhale, right leg lifts, 3-legged down dog.
Exhale lunge.
Inhale. What's the page?
112.
112, okay. Okay, so inhale, warrior 2.
Exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, reach forward, top arm to ceiling, bottom arm to floor. Top arm up, bottom. It's just inhale.
It's just inhale, return.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
had
The transitions.
exhale to triangle.
That one's so.
It's gonna flip it past.
Exhale. Forward fold, straddle forward fold.
Wide-legged forward fold.
Wide-legged.
Yeah.
Left-legged forward fold.
Oh, I've just been face deep in this thing. So sorry.
It's okay. Bring wide leg forward fold to your next breath and cue and pose.
So. Inhale. Yeah, inhale back to. 5-pointed star,
Mhm.
5-pointed star.
5-pointed star, back to standing. Yeah.
Exhale, forward fold. Exhale, warrior two.
It's a sneaky.
I got lost too. Look at her. That's what made me.
Well, looking at me may not be super helpful because it's a sneaky breath.
You're backwards too. Backwards, you're facing.
So,
And
yeah, so this is inhale, hold.
Oh, see, that's why I was confused, because it doesn't say a 5-pointed star, but I just read inhale, torso lift, adjust feet,
Yeah,
so I was like.
yes, they are the same
Okay.
thing. Mhm.
That's what I was-
Awesome.
Inhale. Optional half series.
Inhale. Inhale, left leg lifts.
Exhale, lunge forward.
Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, straight front knee. Inhale to reach forward. Exhale, reach for nose.
Inhale, 5-pointed star.
Exhale, wide-legged forward.
That was on the first round. And the second round is different.
So second round.
What'd you say? I think you had it.
You're right.
Goddess, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yep.
I think I just went back to the top. So I was.
Okay, I'm confused too.
Well, because when I saw left leg lifts, I was like, oh, we're going back to the top. So I was waiting for, like,
Yeah,
the sequence of the top.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
yep.
It's this is one that is not the same on both sides.
Yeah, it's not totally symmetrical. It's mostly
Oh,
symmetrical.
okay, so, okay.
We don't have a chant, but we can work on one.
Okay, I see.
All right, so goddess pose.
It should be goddess. Triangle.
Well, hang on. Let's finish, yeah.
Inhale, lift torso. Adjust feet. Exhale, warrior two.
Inhale, hold.
Exhale, optional half series or downward dog.
Awesome. That's it. And then from here, so that is the end of triangle series. The first pose in spine, hips, and surrender is camel. And we're gonna learn that today. Just so you know, it's literally, it's not like a exhale, drop to your knee. It's literally just come on to standing on your shins and we'll set up for camel pose is what's gonna come next from there. It's one that we can overcomplicate and try to make fancy, but if you tell people to stand on their shins, thankfully they know how to do that. An optional half series, yeah. Yeah.
So you go there from down the downward dog. Come down on your shins.
You got it. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Exhale with the second warrior two when usually inhale for warrior two.
I love this question. What thoughts do you
Yeah,
all
I was
have?
wondering that too.
Yeah, does anybody have any ideas?
I feel like it's because we're not really holding it. It's more to just transition us around places.
Yeah, it's more of a transition. And so remember, usually when a body is getting bigger, we're inhaling, which is why in Sun B, we're like inhale, warrior two. When the body's getting smaller, we're exhaling. So going from 5-pointed star into warrior two.
It's a slight, yeah.
Yeah. So what a great point, Sal, right? That it's like, it doesn't always, it's not that every single time you come into warrior two is the same breath. It depends on what's before and after it. Yeah.
And just to clarify why we went into goddess pose on the other side,
Yeah.
like, was that just to like mix it up or?
Well,
Cause that's why I was like so confused. I was like, wait. Like,
yeah.
5-pointed star, you're up, so you have to.
So yeah, this is the first time where we're doing something right to left that is not totally the same. So it's partially to teach you, this is a thing that you could do. Like, right, and notice that like how and where we place this in the sequence. It's not during Sun B. It's not something that we're flowing, right? That's huge. We've gotten deep enough into class that people aren't necessarily, though, those who are still learning a lot about yoga, they're learning a lot through the repetition of Sun A and Sun B, and just kind of how classes are structured. And here in the second half of class, there's just a lot more like variance and opportunity for variance. And so, this is okay to do where it's like, yeah, it's not like we're doing triangle, warrior two and triangle on the right side, and on the second side, we're doing crescent lunge, right? Like everything that is asymmetrical, we are still doing it on each side. Wide-legged forward fold and goddess pose are symmetrical poses, so we don't necessarily, we could do them twice, but here's an opportunity to get one of each. Now, I always think, and then I see both of you, I always think of, so here we're on the downward slope of getting closer to Shavasana, officially in triangle. We're kind of just like one last little push, and then we're in spine, hips, and surrender, and we're bringing it down. And I always used to think, well, goddess pose is way harder than wide-legged forward fold. So like, why are we doing it closer to Shavasana? But if you think about the Vayus, because I know a lot of you have watched those, Vayu wise, it actually makes sense that we are doing wide-legged forward fold, which is really actually shooting energy out the crown of your head. Technical terms there. We're doing that first while we're still really activating the body more. And then we're doing goddess pose on the second round of triangle because you have Apana Vayu, that downward energy. Yeah. All right, Jake.
It was just off an earlier point, there was another point in class where it was an inhale versus an exhale, and it screwed me up when I was going through popcorning at home, like, plank. There's like, I think it's coming out from lizard lunge up to plank, we inhale
Yep.
there. Normally we exhale, and that really messed me up.
Oh. Yeah, yeah. I'm just kind of thinking about like, okay, what comes before and after this pose, and that's gonna impact it. Yeah. Reba.
I've said this before, but I always feel like we do so many forward folds. And the wide-legged forward fold is after a pretty heavy gorilla forward fold.
Mhm.
And I still don't quite understand why we need that forward fold and the surrender forward fold afterwards. Like what,
Mm,
I found it like maybe a little overkill.
okay,
But
yeah. So gorilla, so what happens in normal forward folds throughout class? Most of the time, it's what's a better word I can use? It's a very passive forward fold. Yeah, you're letting gravity do the work. You're just kind of like, all right, I'm forward folding, cool. In gorilla, it is a very traction, action-packed forward fold. Like you are using, oh my gosh, I'm not prepared for that. You are using the strength of your body. See, that's the difference. Notice in the first one, I was fine. The second one, I was like, I am not safe to do this right now. Because it's that much more traction. It's really like, yeah, working at it.
Gorilla, are you supposed to have your elbows out?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought when my friend said. Big words, no.
Yeah. There's also a lot of other things going on energetically in gorilla. It can bring up an opportunity to work with fear if you are I mean, either way, your hands are spoken for. Either you're stepping on them, which can be really scary, or because it's like if you start to fall forward, or you got your fingers around your toes, which is easier to grab yourself if you're falling forward, but still it's like it takes some work to be like, oh, and in the meantime, we're ideally rocking a little bit of weight forward in the feet. We're shrugging our shoulders up, tucking the chin. So like we are purposely rocking weight forward. So we have more of this fear to work with. And that is why in the sequence, we have put it before crow pose, so that you get to play around with a little bit of that like uncomfortable leaning weight forward, being upside down, trusting yourself before our arm balance. Wide-legged forward fold feels very different and targets a lot of different areas than a normal standing forward fold. And same with seated, where the relationship with gravity. We'll talk about this with Rebecca maybe, but and I personally teach seated forward fold as, yes, you're getting the forward fold, you're getting the stretch in the hamstrings, you're getting at that point in class, it's really important to have a pose like that that's going to cause a lot of internal reflection or give opportunity for internal reflection. But you can also work it as a spine strengthener at the same time, which is really important as well. So I don't disagree. There are a lot of forward folds, and they all serve different purposes. So yeah, good question. Okay. Okay, so for our visual learners, I'm gonna write this down, talk this through a little bit just to make sure we are clear about this first series that we have that is not totally the same on the right to left side. So right side of triangle, our first big pose is warrior two, which we've already introduced. So it's cool. And then we're going to transition into our triangle from there. So triangle is the next pose, but how do I want to write this out? Yeah, but to get there, we've got these two transitional. So it's very similar to in the first round of Sun B, how you're like, exhale, sink lower, inhale, glide forward. But instead it's exhale, straighten the front leg. And then inhale, glide forward. And then our exhale is triangle pose. Why do you think we're not just like inhale, warrior two, exhale, triangle? Oh, hi, God,
I was just staring at Erica creepily just to freak her out. Like, would you like me to let the first?
Yes, please. Bye. I just watched The Sixth Sense yesterday. I'm seeing alive Kristens. So why do you think, well, Have you seen the six?
No.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you should need to watch it.
Yeah, you need to, it's such a good, oh my gosh, you have to watch that
It's not
movie.
scary, it's like a psychological thriller. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good word for it.
I did have to turn it off at some point because I got too scared, even though I've already seen it before. All right, so why do you think we don't just say inhale warrior two, exhale triangle? The legs are different.
Would it be to further differentiate between like the extended side angle and angle? Cause like if you don't fix the knee, if you don't fix the feet type of a thing, it'll kind of be similar.
Yeah, so and the feet do stay the same, but yeah, so straightening of the front leg is important to the shape. It's a normal like transitional cue that we would say before cueing somebody into a pose. What about this inhale glide forward?
It helps extend it.
Yeah, that axial extension. And that is super important because in triangle pose is when people start to think that $100 bill is on the ground. And so they're like, oh, cool, awesome, doing triangle pose, I'm getting this $100 bill off the ground. And this is one way to do triangle. And the way that we are going to cue it is going to be a lot more work in the core and the obliques, that axial extension, lengthen the spine, reaching for the sky just as much as we're reaching for the earth. I'm getting ahead of myself now, but it'll be less for us to talk about later. So let's go ahead, since I'm on this rabbit trail. Utthita Trikonasana. Utthita, so Trikonasana, three, that's triangle. And Utthita is essentially like stretched out, finding length. And like that is a really important, again, when you're looking at this pose energetically, here, okay, this can feel really great. I'm getting, and there's times and place, like you get to negotiate what you want out of each pose, right? So you might be like, oh yes, hamstring, cool. But when we're looking at this pose energetically and how it serves us, like this pulling energy in and sending it out, this, I think I would classify this as prana vayu, like that's really special and unique. Austin always talks about using triangle as like your natural like espresso shot for the day, you know. So all right, so right side, we've done inhale warrior two, transitional cues, triangle, and then we're going to inhale into what most people, this is basically, I mean, I don't want to call it slang, but it's basically slang of like inhale 5-pointed star. In the manual, I think technically it is lift the torso and turn the feet. Whatever works best for you. Most people know if you say 5-pointed star, like 90% of your class will move into that. And if not, then you can awesome pull out the lift the torso, turn the feet, and you're going to tell them where to turn their feet, because next pose on the right side is going to be our wide-legged forward fold.
So you come to star before your wide-legged forward fold?
Before and after.
I thought you go wide leg and then you like roll up to start.
Yeah. What's that?
That is a flat back.
Yeah. That's the way I know it as. But so in wide-legged, for preparation for wide-legged forward fold, we want our toes pointed straight ahead, or maybe even in a little bit. What we don't want is the toes to be pointed out. And again, that's just one of the weird things like with the knee and stuff. Like I don't even want to go into it physically. So toes straight ahead, they can be in a little bit, but definitely not pointed out. So that's how you're going to set up the toes to come into this pose. And then, like we just said, you're going to come back up, 5-pointed star. Exhale into warrior two. Inhale, hold. Why? Why do we hold here? Preparing. honestly, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like we were, because if I lift back up from our wide-legged forward fold, my toes are still pointed this direction. It's just not feasible to be like, exhale, high plank to low from this shape. So we're gonna come into a warrior two first. Breathe in. You can say inhale, hold. You could say inhale, squeeze the legs together. Inhale, feel into your strength. Like inhale, focus the eyes. Like inhale, whatever. Exhale, high plank to low. And then on the just really quickly, star, exhale, warrior two, inhale, hold.
And you can go back to warrior two on the same side you started on.
Yes. Okay, so for our left side, we do the same thing. We inhale warrior two, left leg forward, exhale, straighten the front leg, inhale, glide forward, exhale, triangle, inhale, 5-pointed star, exhale, goddess, which we also call horse pose. So you can use your judgment on when to give, when, you know, if you feel like you should say goddess instead of wide-legged or horse pose instead of goddess. And then the rest is the same. Inhale, 5-pointed star, exhale, warrior two, inhale, hold, exhale, half steer. So this pose right here is the only difference. Everything else totally the same. Full beans? All right. So let's go ahead and pull out your manual and we'll get into triangle. Pose. 146 is the page in your manual. Okay. So we already talked about the Sanskrit for this. You want to say it again? No, Utthita. Utthita. Trikonasana. Trikonasana. I hear some of y'all using lots of Sanskrit. All right. Yeah.
So I know on the like sequence page where it's breath cues and where it's the breath and the movement, it only says Trikonasana, but then on the, I guess it's what's the difference?
Yeah, good question. To my knowledge, none. I think probably just different people. Laura did this and probably Kristen did the other one. So yeah. Yeah. All right, so we've got our transitional cues and then our normal cues. So hopefully you have set up your class during Sun B with really healthy ideas about hip alignment in Warrior Two. And since we're starting from Warrior Two, same deal with the hips. Front hip is spiraling open, so the hip, knee, and toes are all in a line. Back heel is, back edge of the foot is parallel to the back of the mat, or the heel is kicked out a smidge, which may drop the back hip down, let the hip roll forward a little bit. So these are all the same concepts that we're going to take with us into triangle. We're not moving into triangle and all of a sudden trying to square our hips now. Okay. So, so that first one is back hip turns forward and down slightly. It might be more exaggerated or less exaggerated than it was before, because as I straighten into the front leg and reach forward, I'm really kicking my hips to the back of the room. That may accentuate it more, it may not, and that's totally okay, but it may just look or feel different. So when you get up and play around later, kind of notice where the hips are at. Front knee points toward toes. Same thing, right? We want that hip external rotation in the front leg. So that the front knee is not knocking in. We're still externally rotating. Sorry, I keep trying to move to see all of you. And then the second part of that cue is keep a micro bend in the front knee. We've already talked about this. Why might we say this? All of the above, yes. And you'll see it. I'm surprised. Does anybody know if you have knees that hyperextend? You do? Okay. I've seen yours and I don't think they do as much as you think they do.
I engage a lot.
Oh, okay.
Whenever I'm
Oh,
doing-
good then.
like,
Good
when
then.
I-
You're doing the good work. Yeah. I'm like, I couldn't see it. All right. And then the last one is our lower side body lengthens. That one is especially you're gonna pull out when you're seeing this. And you're gonna be like, lower side body lengthens. Reach through the top arm. Like people do not want, I've had to be like, but for real, like come out of the pose a little bit. And then they might just like a teeny bit and I'll be like, there you go, that's your grit. Like, cause it's just this like, oh wait, I'm not supposed to be, I don't know what it is that like, they just think they're supposed to be touching the ground and they're collapsing down. They may have like iffy, weird stuff can happen in the leg. And then now you're putting a lot of pressure on those joints because you're not engaging the core, because if you lift up, you have to engage the core. So it's one that you might say, and then you don't see any change and you will pick and fight your battles to be like, all right, how much are we going to try to get this message through to them today? Let's jump down to our modifications. Use a block under the front hand and rest front hand on shin. These can be great modifications for some people and not for everyone. Do you mind if I use one of your blocks since you're close? So you all have heard about my short little arms, I think by now. So I am not somebody who these modifications are good for. It sounds like the goal of both of these modifications is to make it more accessible and probably less demanding on the core. And so it's a great thought in theory. If I wanted to put my hand on a block to take some of that off, but still find the length in my spine, I need a second block. Because now if I'm here and the teacher's like, you can bring your bottom arm to a block, and you're like, cool. Kind of undid. Gosh, I keep losing you no matter where I move to. Same thing with the hand, the bottom arm on the shin. I may be in really healthy alignment and then they're like, and right now I'm getting like bottom of my thigh, a little bit of my kneecap if I really reach with my fingertips, and you say shin and I'm like, cool. For some people with longer arms, this can work perfectly, but just be cognizant. You might say it and be like, oops, or, and then choose to address like, okay, well, what just happened? All right, so cool. You've got your hand on a block now, but continue to find the length. Like make sure you don't cheat yourself. Find length through the lower side body. And there are, by the way, like, so I've told you all a little bit about my hip injury. And so for years, let's see, my triangle pose was like this. And like, I was working, I was feeling it. I had a teacher one time who was trying to show adjustments after class because there were like a bunch of yoga teachers around. She was like, oh, Erica, like come into a triangle pose for me. So I came into my triangle pose and she says, no, come into a real triangle pose. And I was just like, I was like, yeah. So all that to say, I worked with this as my triangle pose for probably at least 2 years. And all of a sudden, without me pushing it or forcing my body into anything, I am somebody, and I'm not saying that this is good or ideal. I'm not saying that this is the goal. I am somebody who can reach my hand to my ankle, even with my short arms, and keep length in my lower side body all the while. So it is possible that you might be reaching down to your shin, to a block, to the ground, I don't think I can get that far, and still maintain integrity in the spine. And again, like that's not the goal, but because I love hamstring stretches and I still do want to honor like the integrity in my spine, that is just something that I want to point out is a possibility too. Like these things can overlap.
How do you keep the hips in line, or just making sure, because I know that you said you keep the foot, the knee and the hip, but for the back hip, like mine dips in a little bit sometimes, and so I wanna make sure that, I mean, I guess you could engage the muscles in that area.
When you say it dips in,
It like, I twist too forward, so instead of.
it's like
my hip-
this,
A little bit, yeah.
I would not be worried about it at all.
Okay, great.
And I can look at yours later, maybe when we do anatomy with this, but like. That's the thing is you wanna, the front hip is on a leash. So that you're finding external rotation. The back hip, you let off the leash and you're like, go be free. So let it go and be free.
Do what it wants.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
great.
gonna go where your body needs it to go for you.
That looks very.
This hamstring, well, this is the hip that I hurt and now it's just migrated down, so. Okay, questions about that? Any of those modifications or anything to do with triangle before we do adjustments?
I had a question about goddess.
Can we save it till we get there? Yeah, okay. Don't forget.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna save adjustments and we're gonna pair it with the next one. Just to save time standing up and trying it out. So our next pose is wide-legged forward fold. So from triangle, well, how am I gonna get there? I'm gonna inhale.
You have to lift back
Stand up.
Yeah.
Huh?
Points from your
Uh-huh.
Toes
your
point forward.
feet.
Yeah, my toes are pointed forward. Way to go. Look how smart you all are. And then I'm going to, now we have even more transitional cues, that you can add in. So it says, so we got the first two transitional cues out of the way. And two more are inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge at your hips, wide-legged forward fold. Oh, these poses feel so good, y'all. I can't wait for you to feel them. And yeah, it does include like your arms can be extended out to the side. They can be on your hips and your students and or you can give basically a self-assist. And in any forward fold, when we're basically like tilting the pelvis forward for them, like they can do that here. Hands at the hips, exhale, hinge from your hips, and like actually take your hands and practice this when we stand up, but like give yourself that assist and tilt the pelvis forward and lead with the heart. Continuing to find length. Cues. We're reiterating the feet are parallel. This is one people don't hear. You're like, turn your toes in. Long edge of the foot with the edge of the mat. Like people like, you're just gonna have to maybe even walk around and be like, can you press your heel into my hand or whatever? Lengthen the spine with a neutral neck. So we don't want the head like, I mean, this is fine. It's definitely better than this because does this look comfortable? Yeah, but ideally, because we have created so much space with the legs being apart, like if you can find just a gentle tuck of the chin, a smidge, and really think axial extension, lengthening out, it's gonna change the pose. It's gonna change the sensation. Weight in the balls of the feet is the next one. I'm gonna turn to the side and look at, see if I can do this here. This is what happens a lot. Are my joints stacked between my ankle and my hips? No. I'm just gonna put a lot of unnecessary pressure on the hamstring. So I'm going to rock weight forward into the balls of my feet. My heels are still grounded. Sometimes when you say rock weight into the balls of your feet, people are like, okay. And they bring their heels 5 inches off the ground and you're like, oh, just kidding. Like bring the heels back down, like they're still grounded, but you're rocking the weight forward. So that now the pressure is on the hamstring more in the meat of the muscle instead of the ancillary surrounding areas. It is, I've got the safety of the joints being stacked over one another. Hands to ankles or the floor, whatever. You can also do like a down dog variation. You'll see people like walk their hands back behind them. Anything is fine here with the hands, right? It's not a weight bearing body part, so they can hang out wherever either the student chooses that they should be, or if you have something in mind for some reason, I don't usually, but you could cue it specifically that way. If the ground is too far away from them, what are some modifications that we might have? Block and bend the knees. Smart thinking, yeah. All right. Questions?
Instruct somebody to take a wider stance or like a not as wide stance.
Yeah. You could do, usually if we're coming from basically warrior 2, which is basically, right, like our low lunge length. So we've been here through triangle, 5-pointed star. My feet really haven't moved. This is generally a good starting place. If somebody's head is like on the ground, they could take their feet in closer and it feels counterintuitive, but if their head is on the ground, they have a lot of flexibility, and so they may not actually be feeling much. And so it does feel counterintuitive because we think more is more, but sometimes less is more. And so it's like, oh, by like shortening your stance a little bit, now your head isn't touching the ground, but you also might be feeling more sensation. And on the other side of the spectrum, if you have somebody who is like, all right, this is where I'm at, they may want to take the feet out wider, and it can actually encourage more of the fold and change the sensation. So yeah, question. Okay. I kind of want to keep rolling through these and do all the adjustments later. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That way we can just all be like, not have to switch our mindset. Yeah. And then we're gonna do camel, but yeah. So okay, so I was in my wide-legged forward fold. How do I come back out of this? And then we're basically we're done. We're just gonna get through the half series and back to downward facing dog. So how do we get there?
And then
Inhale, beautiful hold, exhale, half series. All right, and then the second side, we're like, inhale, left leg lifts, exhale, low lunge, inhale, warrior 2, exhale, straighten the front leg, inhale, glide the torso forward, exhale, triangle, inhale, 5-pointed star, and here in 5-pointed star, the toes are pointed to the outer corners of the mat. So first time they were straight ahead. Now they're out. What was that face? What just happened?
I'm sorry, sometimes like you just gotta express it out of you, you know?
We have to express what?
Well, it's like you're trying to do gospels and I was like, just, I don't know. What to do.
Okay.
I think it's like the movement is a little.
That's why, that's why.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed it, whatever just happened. Oh, we didn't do the Sanskrit.
Oh.
Sanskrit for wide-legged forward fold. Close. So the little line over the A means that you say that longer, right? So it's prasarita, prasarita, padottanasana, padottanasana, prasarita, padottanasana. If the first word rhymes with margarita, you're saying it wrong. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to plant it in your head. Prasarita. Prasarita. Padottanasana.
You're so Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be in your Spanish accent right now. Okay, so now we're into goddess pose. Toes are pointed out. Goddess pose Sanskrit is Utkata Konasana. I can't, oh, I did try to look up Utkata last night and I didn't find anything, but Konasana is like angle. So our transitional cues, so from triangle, inhale. Oh, I do remember what Utkata means. It means fierce, which makes sense. Okay, so I'm doing a whole kirtan next month that's like all like Kali inspired, who's the goddess of death, and Durga, who's the goddess of war, and they're known for their like fierce, like Kali has this like, well, Durga has 10 arms and a weapon in each hand. And then she's not able, once in her life, is not able to like get this job done and kill the demon. And she gets so angry over it that she like furrows her brow, and Kali is spawned out of her forehead. And Kali comes out wearing like this like garland of skulls, and she has this super long slimy tongue, and she gets so like primal with it that she's like killing this demon and all the baby demons that have spawned off of him. And but the thing is, when you chop a head off of this demon, it grows 10 more, and for every drop of blood that hits the ground, a new baby demon is spawned. So what Kali does is she's like licking up all the blood as she goes and kills them all really quickly. And that's something that Durga couldn't do. So when you hear of Kali and Durga, you're usually hearing about this like fierceness to them. And we can get into this, but like, what does fierceness mean, especially in yoga, right? Like we are trying to use that fierceness to stand up for injustices in the world and injustices in our lives so that we can cut those ties from that which gives us fear and that keeps us from our true nature. And so really Austin calls it big mom energy. But you know, this like you probably have somebody in your life, a kid or a pet or a family member who's like, you would stand up for them. You know, if somebody was bullying them on the playground, like you would step in and intervene, and using that energy to be like, hey, that's not right. And then how can you learn to do that for yourself too? When you're in a situation that's not right for you, to be able to stand up for yourself or whatever it is in the world. And as yoga teachers, we have a lot like practicing ahimsa. And when we see that being broken and we need to stand up for people who aren't able to stand up for themselves and speak out for these injustices in the world, like we need to tap into that fierceness. But at the end of the day, it's not fierceness for the sake of fierceness. They're not out on like a rampage. It's, hey, like standing up for what's right with this peace and joy and love at the center of it all. So next time you're in goddess pose, here's something to think about. All right.
But why are we calling it fierce angle? That's so cool.
Yeah, that's a good question. I might start calling it that. Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, and I would love to know, if it comes up with Laura, ask her what her translation of that is. Because I would trust her more than the Google search I did, but
I know that like Hindus call Kali Ma fierce and Durga Ma fierce.
yeah. Utkata, that word in and of itself is new to me. So okay, so from triangle pose, right, inhale, 5-pointed star, This time turning the toes out. Think of, so when Durga comes in, a lion, or you could think of horse because of horse pose. And with that, right, like you have the space between your feet, and therefore it's just like natural to have them turned out. So hopefully that's easy for you to remember, like toes are turning out. So we're finding some hip external rotation. Same concept as always, hip, knee, and toes are in a line. And if the toes are pointing forward, that's not gonna work, so. All right, oh, and hey, look, that's our first cue. Knees track in the same direction as the toes. These cues, I love them. Hips lower. Awesome. Set your hips down. Core engages. Awesome. Shoulders over hips. This one is so hard and I'm really tired right now. So I'm like, this is where my shoulders want to be. If I draw my shoulders back more, it encourages me to find a neutral pelvis, which in low core even more. I feel, I don't know if I'm actually externally rotating my hips even more, but it certainly is more sensation. And also think about this fierceness, right? Like this has this like grasping at straws energy to it, almost this like desperation, versus here it's like you're confident, like you've got this. Yeah. Modifications. I just love these so much. Don't squat as low. Cool. Come out of it some. You could have your back up against a wall. And this is to, I'm in such a, so messy this morning. I didn't want to move the laptop. So right now I could still bring my shoulders back a couple of inches, but having this to lean on with my hips is really helpful. And then I can start to practice more stacking the shoulders over the hips. And I still do feel a lot more added sensation in my legs. And then the last modification is different arm variations. Yeah, cool time to introduce a mudra, or if you did a mudra at the beginning of class and want to bring it back now, you could have hands at heart center. You could have palms out to the side. I would say like you're waiting tables. You could have your arms out in front of you like you're holding a beach ball. This one's going to be more core. So for right now, you can just, whatever is like, I would say easiest to you, like use that path of least resistance to be like hands at heart center. But in the future, when you're starting to feel the ground underneath you a little bit more, if you want to be like, oh, we did, I don't know, oh, Kali Mudra at the beginning of class. Let's do some Kali Mudra here. Just something fun to put in. Yeah. All right. And then so I'm in goddess pose. This was an exhale. So how do I get out of this? Okay, and then inhale, stay. And then series. Awesome. And then from here, it is, all right, everybody, come on down to standing on your shins at the top of your mat. We're going to set, oh, I just got dizzy. We're going to set up for camel pose. This is not a pose that you demo. You do not demo camel pose. Everybody comes out of teacher training or on teach out day. Everybody's demoing camel pose. You don't need to. And it's another one, honestly, that it's like you do specifically want to be up and walking around and making sure that your students are safe, because this is one that it's easy to dump weight all over into things. And you're going to talk about this in Asana Cleanup with Amber next month too. Your knees are hip width apart. So again, maybe think like 2 fists width in between the knees, giving yourself a nice stable foundation here. I really do think it actually should say for a transitional cue, like that cue should be moved up with hands to the hips with fingers up. that should be a transitional cue so that then you can be like, inhale, camel pose. And they're already in it. So, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about some of the modifications here, which is fingers can be face down to the sides or make fists. So what I tell people, be like, all right, come into standing on the shins at the top of your mat. I do tell them we're gonna get set up for camel because I think that can be a good catch-all for the people who know what they're doing. Fingers to the low back, start over, hands to the low back. Fingers can be up, out, down, or in fists, your choice. Traditionally, in air quotes, the fingers are up, which is a lot of wrist extension. I knew what you were doing though. And if you look here, like I have a lot of space in between the bottom of my palm and my hips. And so a lot of people do as well because they don't have that much hip extension. And so they think, oh, that option must not be suitable for me. But what happens in some cases, and in my case, is as I move into camel pose, the palm of my hand actually just rests perfectly at my hips. And it gives me like the perfect amount of like leverage. So just something to play around with, but fingers down or in fists or out, whatever. I can do fingers up, but it's also not comfortable. And then at this point, okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. You've said, all right, let's all come on down to the top of your mat. Let's set up for camel pose, kneeling on your shins, hands to the low back. Fingers can be up, down, or in fists. Inhale, camel. Sanskrit for this is Ustrasana. So our first cue, press hips forward over the knees. What we don't want is the hips coming back and more flexion in the knees. We want to keep the hips over the knees. Otherwise, you're burning out your quads. Next cue, I got to move that in the manual because that's just not in the right place. So we're going to skip hands to the hips with fingers up because that's already there. Chin in line with the sternum. And then the next one is lift your heart. What the chin in line with your sternum means is, I mean, you're not looking side to side. Most people aren't going to do that, but you're keeping a little gentle tuck of the chin. So you're finding a little bit of axial extension and then lifting here so that the bulk of the heart opening is happening in the thoracic spine, as opposed to this Pez head. Y'all remember Pez candies? Yeah, yeah.
So, so that actually caused me to black out.
Ooh.
It was in a hot class. It was like maybe 6-7 years ago. And I was in camel. And the next thing I know, the yoga teacher was coming up to me, standing over me. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I just looked at her, I'm like, yeah. What just happened?
Were you still in the shape or were you on the floor?
I was just kind of like a weird odd camel
Whoa.
shape on the floor. It was
Yeah.
just-
I
Yeah.
had a similar experience. It was here.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was actually the one that taught me that I was doing that completely wrong because I would just go straight back to my ankles because I could.
Mhm.
And I thought that that was the fullest expression of the pose. So that's what I did. And she was like, it's okay to feel like you're dying here, but don't do that. Don't do that. She was like, let's reset and like put your hands here. And she like did all of the things. And then I knew that I was doing it wrong. The next couple times that I did it, I didn't feel like I was gonna black out. It was more of a surrender pose for me as opposed to like, oh my God, I'm dying. How much longer do I have to do this? Pose. So
Yeah. There's a lot more we can talk about it, and we're going to save some for anatomy and then some for ostomy cleanup as well. But thank you for sharing, because those are two great examples of like, it is another pose that people are like, oh, I'm going to win gold, and it can not be cool. Yeah.
or is there a point at which, like, when you're finally like back far enough that you can release that, or you're supposed to be like?
It's the extension in the neck can be safe for some people. For some people, it makes them feel like they're gonna pass out. Either way, what you have to prioritize is finding axial extension first before the spinal extension. I would move into spinal extension first and foremost in the thoracic spine. Get to your edge there, and then very mindfully, you can open up the neck if it feels good to you. And there's a big difference between that versus what it sounds like you were doing, of just like, here I am, yeah. And that, we just see that a lot, so, yeah. So it can be okay for some people. I very rarely do it, because I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I know you all want to have more conversation about it, and just for time's sake today, we're gonna stop it there. So please write down your questions so we can revisit them. And the last cue, well, second to last cue here is lift your heart. So please keep in mind that this is first and foremost a heart opener, not a back bend. And in this very last one, it says to exit, you inhale. We inhale to get into this pose, and we're inhaling to get out of it. Energetically, it's like we are lifting ourselves into it, and it makes sense that, like, oh, I'm gonna exhale and like use that core engagement to pull me out of it. But the way that you need to engage your core in the safest way possible here, because you are in a compromised position, is actually to inhale. And the way in which it restricts certain parts of the core are then going to force other parts of the core to engage and then be the ones to pull you out of this safely. Plus, it is just also this energetic, like, inhale, lifting back to neutral. You can do half camel, which would be, I'm gonna use 2 blocks here, especially since I'm not feeling well. I would come back and I would have one hand on a block and one hand to support my head. And then you would switch sides. So that can be really nice. Ooh, I love this one. You can take a block in between the knees. This one's too big for me because now well, actually that works just fine. If I take a block in between my knees and then I squeeze it, yeah, feel this out if you want to. It's really gonna give you that much more of a solid foundation in the legs and in the pelvis as well, because now all the muscles are working. And then, like we said, fingers can be up, down, sides, or in fists. All right. We're going to get to play around with this a little bit more in a minute when we come back to adjustments, but we have adjustments for all 4 of these poses that we'll go through now. And then I want to be done at 10, or sorry, it's going to be really, really tight to take a break, but I want us to do these adjustments. You all need a break now, don't you? Yeah, okay, keep it as short as possible. Go to the bathroom and come back, how's that? Okay. And then that way we have time to do adjustments and a practice teach. Y'all are doing great. Yes.
Nobody have ever heard of the camel modification with the block back there. That's marvelous.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I like even just doing that now, I was like, oh, that's nice.
I was like, this might just be camel from now on. That's nice.
I know, because I hate doing camel unless somebody's giving me the adjustment.
Oh.
And so, but I'm like, oh, you can just give yourself the adjustment.
Yeah. Well, it just like, it actually feels like a chest opener, because or else I just feel like I'm getting like a back bend type of a thing.
I usually do better with camel when I'm on my own, just because it's such a vulnerable position
Mhm.
that I feel more safe when I'm by myself to just open up like that. So I think
Yeah. I know, something about like boulders, it's just always like, we.
Yeah, I have not enjoyed camel most of my life, but I'm learning. Mhm.
I forgot to compliment your bag, Madam Director.
Oh, I think it must have been Rebecca's. Have you all had Rebecca yet? No? Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. She subs for Austin and is posture clinic teacher. Yeah, this must be her bag. She's an actor and does some directing for like kids camps and stuff. So I'm assuming this is her bag that I ended up having something. 'Cause I am not. I'm not really either one of these words, so. But is it cool? I'm like, I feel cool having that bag.
Pretty. Unmixed stuff.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, are we ever gonna meet in person, the other Erica?
Mm-mm.
There's another. It was like the person that did anatomy before.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, unless I'm not available and Amy's not available and Rian's not available to do your last anatomy session, then I might have to call her, but I think she's done teaching for us. They're gearing up to move, I think. So sad. She's awesome. You guys would love her.
Running out of time and you have to choose between, camel and locust, what do you think would be a better choice?
Yeah.
It's under.
It depends on what else you've done in the class. So if you were doing just this series, I would probably prioritize camel because you have gotten spine strengthening. You could really even teach like wide-legged or seated forward fold, really highlighting the spine strengthening aspects of it. You could teach pigeon pose and really focus on spine strengthening. So there, so yeah. No question. All right, thanks for keeping that tight, y'all. You're doing great. And we're going to knock out these adjustments. And then you're going to practice teach all the way through triangle and camel pose and be ready to rock and roll. So let's start with triangle. And here's what I want to do. I want you to stand up and find a partner and then get into a line. And I think we have an odd number, which is perfect. I'll take one of you as a partner. You'll stand in a line-ish around in the room, and then I'll mirror you as we do these adjustments. So I'll be over here, whoever wants to partner up with me. All right, Joshua, you got a partner? All right, so partner up, and then just one of you will be the student, and let's do left leg forward, and then I'll have you face them. All right, and then I'll have you swap, so you're gonna do right leg forward.
Okay.
There you go, yeah.
So, yep, we're facing the student.
Yeah, y'all are facing this side of the room, except for Sal and me.
You're good. It's just like you're.
All right.
Yeah, got it.
So come into your warrior two and exhale, straighten through the front leg. Inhale, glide the torso forward. Exhale, Utthita Trikonasana, full beings. So you all know all of these adjustments already. I'm going to do the high five. I'm going to touch your wrist just in case I am a little germy. And also because I don't know that I can reach your hand, but you're going to give the high five and you're going to say press into my hand. And then you're gonna track upwards to help them find length in the lower side body. Awesome. And then I'm gonna release that. You can say that to your student. You can press and check out too. So even with Sal, I could say, can you put your heel into my heel a little bit? You're gonna come back to their back foot. You can do the inside of your foot or the outside like I am and say, press into my foot. So whether they need to adjust the heel or not, do all students feel that in the outer side of the leg? Yeah, okay. And then I'm gonna release that. This is just another option. Let's have you stand on up for a second because that's a long time on the side. Shake it out. So we're through 2 out of the 3. So the first one is the high 5 with the variable pressure that we've done in extended side angle and we've done in side plank. Pressing into the back heel to help engagement through the abductors of the back leg. And then yeah, let's go ahead and switch sides. Stay with your same partner, but just like stay facing this way, but then just left opposite foot. And then this next one is basically like extended side angle. So come back into your triangle pose. And hands onto either side of the rib cage. Low rib cage, Barbie hands, wide fingers, and you're going to lengthen the spine. As you exhale, you might rotate the heart toward the sky a little bit. Make sure you're standing about midline to midline. So Josh, step forward behind Reba a little bit. Other way. There you go, yeah. And you're breathing with them. Lotus, did you try this one? Yeah. Okay, all right, and then help them come back up to center. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Awesome. Okay, let's stay in the same setup, like students stay where you are and point your toes to the long edge of your mat. Exhale for wide-legged forward fold. Hinge at your hips. Lead with the heart. Okay, and hey, look, we already know this one too.
So with this, if you were like already on this person, would you be doing the like hip tilt?
You
forward?
could do the hip tilt forward in this pose,
Okay.
during that transition. Otherwise, you're basically gonna do the same forward fold adjustments of hand on the sacrum, hand down the spine, but because their legs are wide, you're gonna step to the side, either side, ground a hand on the sacrum, and then a peace sign finger on either side of the spine. Hold down their shirt if necessary and take it up to the neck. Maybe give a little shoulder massage there or neck massage.
I think that's a good medium. For me, you could do.
Okay, and then slowly, students, lift back up. Take a deep breath in as you raise. Okay. All right. And then let's pretend that we're on this, so you can relax your arms. Let's pretend that we're on the second round of triangle pose. You're gonna toes to the outside edges of your mat. For goddess pose. Assist knees over ankle and place hand at the middle of the back and ask them to press into your hand. So again, we've done both of these. So you're gonna do motorcycle revving at the, mid to low thigh to help spiral the hips open. And then you can also take a hand to their mid back. And you should basically always have 2 hands on somebody. So whenever you're doing something like this, take another hand to their shoulder, just to stay that way. Otherwise, it's too easy to push them forward and you're like, press into my hands.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. Questions?
Your champ, we did that.
That's good.
Awesome. Okay, so let's swap. If you were the adjuster, you're now the student.
I like all those.
Yeah, and these are these are all adjustments that you've done. So you know them all. Yeah, they're super intuitive. I'm glad you feel that way.
Oh, yeah.
So warrior 2 with your left foot forward. I'll scoot forward. I'm like, they were not squished back there.
okay, or is that something I should just?
I do the wrist of the hand, especially if it's like cold or flu season.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I don't want to be touching people's hands. That freaks me out. So
We're about the same height, but I didn't quite, I can't quite. reach.
yeah, so yeah. So I would say the wrist is okay. I think it's okay. And it also just may be that like, oh, I probably wouldn't do this one on Ethan, you know, just like height wise. Okay, so let's all face the same way. So this leg forward. And we are gonna start, so straighten through the front leg and glide the torso forward. Udita Trikonasana, and go ahead and. Ooh. All right, so now once you've got the pressure between the hands, track upward, gentle pull. Yeah, okay. And then release and come to their back heel. If the heel needs to be adjusted, you can also address that. Otherwise, foot to foot and have them engage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like fear.
And then release that and come back to the trunk, the torso, and do basically your extended side angle. So as you inhale, you lengthen the spine. As you exhale, you rotate the heart toward the sky. Great pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say, so think too about your own stance. You might benefit from like a warrior 2-ish or like a light, like kind of triangle warrior 2 hybrid as the adjuster. So you have a really wide stance with them. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What else?
All right. Lift up to 5-pointed star. Toes point to the long edge of your mat. Legged forward fold. So in the pose, adjusters, you can step aside of your and straddle one of their legs. And then a hand grounds the sacrum and or the shirts. The other hand tracks up, creating some length in the spine, maybe a little neck massage. Super great pressure cell. Awesome. Yeah, I'm like, you can stay here all day. All right, students slowly start to lift back up. And turn your toes out and sit down for Devyasana. Devyasana is another Sanskrit word I've heard for, I don't know.
Okay.
Hands are wherever you want them. So adjusters stand behind and motorcycle rev the mid to low thigh. Obviously, we don't want it too high up there. Think more external rotation rather than abduction. Motorcycle revving. So Christina, put your fingers in and your thumb out. There you go. Yeah. Okay. And then release that and draw a hand to their low back, or like mid spine, hand to their shoulder and say, press into my hand. I would say I'm feeling pressed forward a smidge, so maybe, can you even like. Yeah.
Oh, just move my hand up.
That seemed to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Cool. Okay. I forgot about camel pose. So you can stay with your partner now, except for you. But if you wanna, hop here. And then, if you'll face the side for them, please. Okay. So camel pose. This is one that you're going to let them get into it first, because similarly to crow, if you start adjusting too soon, they're not going to be able to get into the full version, their full. So once Sal is in camel pose, I have 2 things I can do separately or together. And that's going to be a hand behind the heart. I'm gonna lift your foot up a little bit. And then another hand can come to the neck. And I'm lifting the heart up and tractioning toward me a little bit. And then I'm providing a little bit of traction in the head. I don't have very good, bless you. And it's kind of slipping today, yeah. And then lift back up to center, inhale. Okay, I'm gonna take a seat and pause here. A lot of times, so Sal was great and they knew, I said, you know, I put my hand behind their neck and they went with it. Sometimes you put their hand behind their neck and people like come out of it like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. My head isn't supposed to be back. So you may say, it's okay. Like, let your head fall into my hand or put the weight of your head in my hand. And then you'll use that weight of their head into the tractioning. Do you want to open up the neck more?
Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just see what that looks like. So I'll let Sal come into camel and inhale, open it up.
Well,
Okay, yeah, so that's fine too. So you might see this and that's cool beans. It's the same concepts. Apply that I'm just gonna try not to like be worried about your face being in my face. So I'm gonna take a hand underneath the heart and lift, and then hand to the neck and lift, action back toward me. Axial extension happening here. And then as you inhale, lift up to center. Awesome, thank you. And take a seat. So I'm gonna cue out of this very specifically. I'm gonna say, take a seat on the shins and pause there. Now that Sal has taken a moment to pause, they come into a restorative child's pose, which means knees are together. And now they're finding some spinal flexion as they round over. Yeah, so that is in the sequence when we're talking about camel. Thank you so much. You can come out whenever you want. You can stay there as long as you want. It can feel really good after a heart opener like that to find that flexion. However, it's really imperative that you take a moment to pause, neutralize the spine before going into that flexion, because think about your spine like a paper clip, right? And like, this isn't gonna happen like that, but like, if you do this with a paper clip, eventually it's gonna break. So it's like, we want to find the heart opening, come back to neutral, really let the muscles like settle, thank you. And then otherwise, like rough on the spine, muscles can get like upset and crampy real quick if you're like, here, restorative child's pose, like give them a beat if you're gonna offer that before moving on to the rest of the sequence. So those adjustments, I had one hand to behind the heart, and that one was really lifting up, and the hand behind the neck was really pulling toward me more. So feel that out, everybody, before we try this. So one hand lifting up, and then the hand closer to you is more pulling back. And obviously your hands aren't going to be moving as much, but you know, this is the action that you're thinking about, right? Helping that axial extension and the spinal extension. Okay, so whoever's on the mat, go ahead and be your student, and Sal, you can do whatever you want to right now.
Okay.
So just because I do want to watch them, and since you already felt it, and then I'll let you address me. So students, go ahead and come into your camel pose. So inhale, lift the heart. Come all the way into it. Now, adjusters. Yep, go ahead, midline to midline. Wide stance, bend in the knees. Yeah, there you go. Now, hand on the heart lifts up. Hand closer to you, tracks toward you, and you may need to say, it's okay, rest your weight of your head in my hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry,
There you go. That would get us away, right?
Yeah. Either way, you could do just the heart in that circumstance, right? You could do these I love them together. I think that's when it's most effective, but if somebody has a clip in their hair, you could. So now help them come back out of it. Take a beat, students, take a seat.
Okay, I'm gonna see how it feels when you do it.
All right, and then we'll swap. Okay, yes. Yeah.
It's always very intense, so I'm like, I can't verbalize right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always like.
Let's have, everybody swap. I'll do this while I'm doing, no, you're good. And then Sal, I'll let you practice on me in just a second. So swap with your students, so adjusters, you're now the student. Okay, so come into your camel pose, inhale, think axial extension first, and then roll the heart open toward the sky. Once they're in the pose, then you come into it, hand behind the heart that lifts. Other hand tractions back behind you. Whenever you're ready. Center. Lift them back up to center. Yeah. And take a moment, you can play around more, ask each other questions, talk about pressure. Thank you.
So I guess whenever you do more pressure on the heart, you're gonna.
You can get more pressure on the heart, but you also don't need to, because that's just so great.
And I'll just wait till you come out of it. I don't.
Yeah, so now it helps that.
Yeah.
You're really great at adjustments.
I like hurt Lotus the other day, so I felt like maybe I'm not.
Well, that will happen. No, it's super good pressure. I'm probably too light to know. So good job. Oh, good. Okay, awesome.
Well, I think that.
Okay, make sure that you help them back out of it. Question, yeah.
Yeah, so like I have a pretty short neck and I have a big neck.
Yeah.
So if you can't really find their neck, you just kind of let them fall into your hand and then traction, or,
Well, if,
cause I feel like when I try to get to the neck, I'm kind of like wrapping my hand like around.
yeah, so think about like a U shape. Oh, good point. Think about a U shape with your hand. So you're shortening, this is the primary part that's scooping, thank you. So you don't have to have a ton of space
Okay.
in the neck. There are some necks that are harder to get this adjustment to. You can do these separately. You could do just the heart or just the head if it makes more sense in that scenario. I think they're best together. But you could pick and choose.
Okay.
Yeah. Other questions? Y'all, that was cool. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, we're back on schedule. So, find somebody to practice with. One of you can be with me and you're gonna teach through triangle, everything that we've done. You're gonna do breath, pose, cues, adjustments. You can skip the half series, yes. And camel. And remember, that's from downward facing dog. Let's come on down to your shins. Setting up for camel pose. And then swap. We've got almost 45 minutes, so we should be good on time, and then we'll meet back at 12:50 for any last questions and wrap up the day. And then whoever's with me, you can teach me, and then you can go join another group and be a second student. Okay, all right.
Do we just?
Yeah, you can have a different.
Are you a student?
Alright, what would you want to be?
Yeah.
Student or teacher? What do you think?
Are you gonna use my mat? No mat.
I'm just gonna use.
Alright, so we're starting out with triangle, or we're starting out with a. We're starting From the very beginning, like. No, triangle. Okay.
Just series and then camel.
All right, so, inhale, right leg lifts, exhale, motion forward. Inhale, warrior two, and almost said warrior three. Okay, so I'm not doing any, adjustments here because it's like one breath per movement at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could, but.
Okay, and then exhale, straighten the front leg.
Okay, sorry.
Is that just one movement?
Oh, sorry,
Straighten, glide forward. There we go. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, triangle.
Exhale, lunge.
Inhale.
Here, we're doing adjustments right here, right?
Exhale, straighten the knee.
Check with your body.
Exhale, lengthen a little bit. Exhale. Wait, inhale, lengthen, exhale. Back your foot. We're here for 3 or 4 breaths. Back a little.
Inhale, 5. Or 4, 5.
Inhale back to warrior two.
Extend and
Inhale, 5.
Exhale.
Oh, inhale, straighten the back front leg. Have a light. bend in
Exhale,
the
warrior
ankle.
two.
Exhale,
Or no,
lean
no,
forward
so-
towards the triangle.
Should I know that?
Arms.
We're both
for the ceiling.
5 point of start. Okay, exhale, 5 point of start.
That's great.
Okay, you got the 5-point start, right?
Inhale. Okay.
You mind if I do this?
Um, down.
Exhale, wide leg.
Exhale, wide leg forward. Right here. I'm trying to like, no, okay, so I'm doing this, but I'm like also this, right?
Well, lengthen spine.
Yeah, and so,
I'm sorry, I
You're-
forgot about it.
no, you're good, and you had your hand here as not the lecture, right? I would start with your hand on my sacrum. See, that's so tricky. You might need to like. And then maybe use your or once, or you can start it on the word. That, but then that.
Yeah,
Just wanna be on the same line.
Warrior two.
Okay. Just for stability, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's so many good ones.
Cartwheel your hands in the floor. Okay, cool, got it.
Inhale.
Or less pressure.
We like. Exhale.
So now we're gonna inhale, bring it back, break the center, and, 5 point of start. I forget the technical
Extend
stuff,
that
but-
hand to
And then exhale, toes point forward into warrior two. Okay, and then
right foot.
inhale,
Inhale.
exhale, bring it back down to, your half series.
Exhale.
I like to look like bottom mountain, inhale, for dog, exhale, different dog.
He's track over big toe.
Inhale, left leg lifts,
Leg
huh?
or hip.
Exhale, lunge forward to, this is a low lunge, right? Inhale, warrior two.
Inhale, lift yourself.
Exhale.
Exhale, straighten that front leg and bring it down to triangle. Or I did that last one. Glide forward, inhale, glide forward, exhale, triangle.
Exhale.
Okay. Like glide. Okay.
Right arm is up.
Inhale,
Down.
breathe here.
Then there's a straight your right arm and your left hand.
And put pressure in your palm instead of the fingertips. There, oh, transformational.
Okay, cool.
Yes, so good, there you go.
So.
To bring it back. Inhale, 5 point of start.
Inhale,
Sweet. Am I doing it? Okay. Exhale, make sure those toes are pointed out. As you exhale, bring it into goddess pose. Or center, at the side, wherever it feels comfortable.
Your core and.
A few connecting breaths here. And then get, is it? Keeping the hand out. Finger and on the shoulder.
This hand in between the shoulder blades.
Up.
And then say press back into my hand.
Press back into my hand.
But provide less, this one isn't like the high five where you're like providing pressure. This one is to get me here. I did not explain that in the group. I need to do that. Yeah, there you go.
Axial into extension, right? Encouraging that.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that was my bad too, so good job.
All right, and am I doing any more adjustments here?
Yeah.
I mean, was there oh yeah, the.
Getting used to it.
Center 5 minutes guitar and we down.
Versus like
Okay, exhale, toes point back forward into warrior 2. And hold here for a breath. Exhale, cartwheel hands down. Bring it into your half series. Exhale, downward facing. Excuse me. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And oh yeah. You can bring it down to your knees. Take a seat on the mat if you feel. I'll do that. Not going to, I almost said I was gonna demo it. Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna go into the habit. So bring your hands to your sacrum. They can either be facing down, out, or up. As you encourage slight extension. Exhale. Bring the back. This is mainly a part when you're also exhale. I can't even say it. Open the heart. Is that how you would say it?
Yeah, roll the heart.
I just hear how you're looking at I didn't know.
Alright, I was wondering why you were pausing. Inhale.
So were you thinking when you were doing it?
Yeah.
One thing I would recommend.
So, and I'm at heart counter, right?
Yeah, will you just run the camera?
Oh, that is so good. That is amazing.
Yeah, that pointer with the palm really helped me.
Lower side of body.
Okay, you can come out of it whenever you're ready. And go ahead and take a seat. You can even it out with Balasana. If you want to do that. Or you can take some couch.
Around with some adjustments here.
Yeah, if you want to find be a third student, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Step the right foot
Here,
through to the middle of your hands. Inhale, warrior 2, spin the back foot parallel with the mat.
What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Engage the core.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Exhale, you're going to straighten that front leg. Right? Bring the torso forward. Exhale, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Coming around with some adjustments. Chin to my hand.
Inhale, left leg lifts.
That engagement right there.
Exhale.
That's
right.
genius.
Inhale back to. warrior two.
Yeah, that when they're high fiving, they have like something shine over it.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Exhale and then 5-pointed star.
Inhale, warrior two. Exhale. Straighten the back. Exhale, reach forward. Inhale, or exhale, triangle.
Exhale. Exhale, wide forward fold. Keep that core engagement.
Front
Down.
twist toes.
Wide-legged.
Wide-legged forward fold.
No,
Okay.
I was like, what, something?
sorry, yeah.
Inhale.
Rotate the feet
Inhale
towards
back to 5-pointed star.
Exhale, goddess. Sink the hips lower.
Exhale to warrior two to the front of the mat.
Track with the toes, core engages.
And exhale. We did inhale back. We did exhale too. Okay, so inhale, hold. Exhale, down to plank.
Yeah.
Take your half series. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog.
Yeah, this one goes.
Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, low lunge. Bring the left leg to the center of the mat. Inhale, warrior two, step the back foot parallel with the mat.
What?
Right, what you're trying to do.
Oh, I guess, okay,
Do that instead.
Exhale,
you would lift.
straighten the front leg. Inhale, rest the torso forward. Exhale, 3 Konasana. Triangle pose.
Weird. The whole thing.
Go make sure, remember to keep the pressure in the. Inhale, 5-pointed star.
I feel like that's actually really.
Exhale,
It's just there.
point the toes outward.
Pointed down.
The adjustment for camel. If by some chance I'm not doing the neck, I'm just doing the back.
So I'm just doing.
She like opened me up kind of like this
Mhm.
and it like got, I don't know, it kind of made me lay back.
Yeah.
But my.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Like someone on like the collarbone or shoulder.
Yeah.
This alone might be sufficient, but again, it's like you usually want a second hand.
Yeah.
So, and especially if you just are doing this, they might come up out of it. So something to help encourage that part of it is exactly it.
Is it okay that I'm just doing one side? Cause I kind of did feel like maybe we should do the other.
I know,
side too.
right? It's one of those where I'm like, I think if you're able to
Moving.
gracefully swap out the hands, that'd be awesome. But if you can't, that's also okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, great.
Breaths.
And inhale, pause. Exhale. Blank.
As a person feeling, it, I'm like, that feels so
Inhale, upward
nice. Like,
facing
it doesn't
dog.
feel like you're coming.
Exhale, downward facing dog.
Yeah, all right, and then
And then
down
you can come
into
down to
your
your knees
restorative
there.
child
Boom.
pose together.
Get ready for Ustrasana.
It looks like I'm making a restorative child pose so frequently. I'm like, what does that look like? Yeah. I actually struggle with restorative child pose because I think my head's taking a lot of the weight. Like I struggle with to put weight down and I end up with my hips.
Okay.
So I'll be like, they're like, why am I? It's like I child pose to like anchor my arm, like help that. Like here I'm like. Yeah, no, even the child pose like, oh, temple.
Yeah.
I remember learning about it, when I was like, on your feet, I was like, how do you?
But I get. Yeah, I might just.
I didn't see the warrior too, like. one.
It's just-
Do you want it? Yeah, yeah.
No. Just a couple of cues out there.
Yeah.
So it was like, and stakes or something. Yeah, I was.
Three-legged down frog.
Like put my hips out.
Exhale once.
Right now. No.
Inhale.
Which.
Stick your feet out wider. They're like farther apart from each other. Yeah.
Is it on? And I.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then here's the last thing I use it.
Yeah, it's, I've seen,
Oh, yeah.
like, yeah, but you're right. It is like
Like, I'm not
at that edge.
I'm not playing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhale, warrior two. Inhale.
Really good.
Hi.
So when we go from
So when you're doing it, you're like, I'm just touching her.
like the wide-legged forward fold and the inhale with torso, adjust feet.
Yeah.
What other cues are we giving for the adjust feet? Is it like adjust feet, point that back toe or that front toe? back toe?
Yeah,
So how are we cueing them for this to adjust feet? Or is it just
Yeah,
that
it's
going into warrior two, that's how they do it? Just- So
exactly.
you don't tell them how to just. Through the beginning of class, you've already talked them through the warrior two, so now they just know that that's.
Yeah.
Here.
Sense
what I'm asking?
Yeah, totally. And I always just say inhale, 5-pointed star, exhale, warrior two, front toes point forward. So I admittedly do it a little bit different than this. So if I were to do it like this, I would say inhale, lift your torso, front toes point forward, exhale, warrior two.
Okay, so you're not even saying adjust feet, you're saying go straight to how to adjust.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Makes sense.
And just in preparation for whatever comes next. Yeah, good question. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, you have to tell them, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Okay, you all done? Yeah.
So like, if their knees are in, is that?
Yeah, we want them rotating open. There you go. Yeah.
If their knees are in, would you tell them to step further? Or like just.
Usually you're actually gonna want to step the feet closer in. And it's gonna make the external hip rotation more accepted. Yeah. Good question. All right, let's bring it back in. All right. Good work. That seems like you all got this really well. Yeah? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good.
Art seamlessly.
Good. You got that first part, yeah. Hey, sorry, let's close off the side conversations, please. Yeah, okay, awesome. That's good to know. And you do all have this. So good job. And I feel like by and large, you have this memorized, the flow, even if not the cues, but like the flow, the breath and movement of triangle. So I saw some of you using your notes, and that's okay, but also go home. Seriously, you could popcorn this by yourself in 3 minutes, like on the drive home, even just be like, okay, or even to think it through, like, okay, warrior 2, and we have to like straighten the front leg, and then we have to glide forward, and then triangle, like just think through, because you got this. And I don't want you to think for a minute that you don't, but you need to prove to yourself that you do. And you actually have to do that little bit of work to solidify it a little more. So pull out something to write on and with. And figure out sequence wise what your goal needs to be for the next week. Next week is your last posture clinic.
That's a lot. No.
Yes. Which is why we do Camel today. Yeah. But at that point, it's like we're flying through these poses. Like so much of next week is going to be review, and then that practice teach at the end. Because y'all are really tracking with like how to be teaching these poses that at this point, even today, it was like, I'm just telling you what's written down on the paper, but like you understand all these concepts, you understand all the concepts of the adjustments. And then after next week, you are going to be showing up and we're going to be practice teaching the whole time. So looking ahead into, I don't know how many weeks it is from now, like at your first full practice teach, to be able to be here practice teaching without your notes, integrating all of the breaths, the poses, the cues, the adjustments, and then starting to think about things like, am I standing too still? Am I pacing around the room too much? Am I breathing with the students? Can you start to incorporate a little bit of your own personality at some point? So to be able to get there, that just means that you really need to finish this last week out strong. So write down what you need to work on in the next week. And back to Ethan's brilliant point earlier, when are you going to do it? Carve out, whether it's vague, like I'm going to spend 15 minutes a day, or like Monday at 3 o'clock, like whatever, just like carve out some sort of plan that you will share with the class, and they will help hold you accountable. And remember that the goal of these practice teaches, I hope what I just said didn't scare you. Like, it's not that it's perfect, but like you're coming in fertile, prepared enough so that we can actually give you feedback that's going to be useful to you. Because if you're not prepared, we can't give you any helpful feedback, right? I would give anything to be able to get juicy, valid feedback as a yoga teacher now. And like, you don't get that once you're out of teacher training. Very rarely do you get that. So just make use of it now. Okay. Did you all have any questions come up when you were practice teaching? Triangle? Cool. One thing that I did not explain very well about the adjustment in goddess pose with the hand behind the heart. The purpose of that is you would do it if they're shoulders are like far in front of their hips. I mean, that's probably an exaggeration, but like here, you would lightly bring your hands behind their heart and say, press into me. So the purpose of it is to draw them back. So it's not like the high five where you're giving pressure, because that's going to actually tip them forward, and you want them to actually like, it's just a soft little like, oh, press into me. Once they're there, then add the hand onto the shoulder. Otherwise it's another, and you're using that to like broaden the collarbones a little bit, like open the heart up, while continuing to lean back. Okay. So this series as a whole, right? It's kind of like our espresso shot for the day. It's our last push, but we've warmed up a lot of flexion and extension in the spine in Sun A, really gotten our breath tracking. And then in Sun B, and core, we really move more into that heat. In Sun B, we're extending energy out. In core, we're bringing it back in for ourselves. And then we keep, so at that point, it's like, hey, I've built this fire. And now I've told the fire where to go, and we keep that tracking pretty steadily through crescent series. When we do our deep compressed twist, our lizard lunge, we're getting a little bit deeper into the hips, but then we bring it back with some real strength with side plank. Focus is the big purpose of the Utkatasana series when we're balancing on one leg and then on our hands. So it's like we've taken that fire, we've told it where to go. We're really it's like alchemy in the body when we do that deep compressed twist. And now it's like, okay, at this point, we've kind of burnt to the ground everything that is not necessary at this point. So like we're clear and we can focus. And then here is like our last, it's this very, triangle can be a very like cleansing sequence, especially in the relationship between the hips and the spine. Having that, Utthita Trikonasana, Utthita meaning stretched out, finding length. I always say in my classes, it's like you're reaching for the sky and the earth at the same time. And it's almost that thing of like, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? It's like in triangle pose, it's proof that like, as you are reaching for both polar opposites, like you are the thing in the middle that makes sense of it all. And you're starting to, before we really wind down the practice, you're starting to kind of integrate everything that you've done thus far in the sequence mentally and energetically, so that now it's like the last resolve before you can dissolve in spine, hips, and surrender. And that kind of actually feels symbolic of where you're at in training, come to think of it, like, especially with learning the sequence, like you're in the home stretch. And so to kind of have that mindset of like, okay, like last little push, let yourself stay clear, let yourself be in the struggle with it, sitting in the discomfort when you need to, and being accountable to yourself and to your peers of like, okay, this is, what I'm gonna do to finish out strong so that you can really take it to the next level. Because practice teaching is going to be like spine, hips, and surrender is during class. When you're just like, it's like, okay, let's like just kind of work out all the last little like kinks and stuff. And like you've built this foundation and you've done such an incredible job thus far, that now it's going to be like, all right, like this, I'm using so many metaphors, the soil is fertile. I'm giving you another one. The soil is fertile. And, during practice teach, it's like, all right, you're going to be planting all these seeds, so that we can help you water it so that then you can all blossom. I want to think of one more metaphor just to throw in there. Home run. Oh, I did it right. I usually say slam dunk when I'm doing baseball. All right, let's go around the room and share what your plan is. Say it out loud. You wanna start?
Sure. I want to practice cues. I feel like I have the breath movements down, so really making sure I have the anatomical like alignment and safety and all those cues down. And I want to do that for like 30 minutes a day. And I feel like I'm gonna try and fit it in that afternoon section that I normally just do nothing with my day, like a 2 p.m. kind of time range where I've done stuff in the morning that was easy, and then I'm like tired and logged out. I feel like that'll be a good time to really get my body moving and getting my focus redirected on something else.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, so I'm probably gonna spend, 15 minutes a day popcorning, probably after work will be my most consistent time to do that. Also gonna make sure I come in for the flex time on the weekend, and yeah, maybe hopefully get some practice time organized with people.
For sequence, I'm going to repeat it and popcorn it when I'm driving home from work, and maybe when I'm driving to work, but I think I may be too sleepy to do that. And then I'm going to really work on everything after core, specifically for sequence cues and adjustments, because I feel like that is something I just need to work on. And for that time, I'm going to have around an hour, maybe 2 hours with a little mental break in between. On Tuesday or Wednesday, depends on if I get an appointment or not.
My goal is to be more confident with the cues and the names of the poses. And when I'm gonna do it is before dinner for 15 minutes every day.
I'm gonna spend 15 minutes a day learning to popcorn the rest of the sequence and to have that finished by next Saturday. And then spend half an hour a day going over cues and adjustments to make sure I'm learning those. And then popcorning the entire sequence at least once a day.
Awesome. I love good popcorn.
First thing in the morning when I wake up, going to just integrate studying and memorizing the breath, pose, and cues portion of it. Between then and also before I go to sleep, spend about an hour total, just 30 minutes or however it works out. Like it's crunch time to actually put in the effort to really push for the conversation.
I'm definitely gonna work on popcorn as well, but breath, pose, and cues, 15 to 30 minutes a day. Pending sometimes in the morning, I have some time, sometimes in the afternoon, but morning or afternoon. And I'm also gonna give myself a little bit more confidence, just more speaking out loud to my significant other. Thoroughly some ways of practicing there, and also 2 classes of Vinyasa flow in the week to just kind of really let it stick in.
Love it.
The more I do it,
Love
it's gonna help me.
Thanks.
So, I definitely want to get better about memorizing breath pose cue. I'm not so great about, like, after I say the Sanskrit, I don't say exhale or whatever for the next pose. So I want to get better about like my formation and what I'm actually going to say when I'm teaching a class, and kind of write that out as a script and record myself. I'd also like to do it and pick out the parts that like don't really make a whole lot of sense to me on the mat. And then maybe like rewrite that to better formate what I'm trying to do. And then my time period, I want to record it so that I can listen to it on the way to and from school in the mornings, because that would give me at least 30 minutes in the morning and in the afternoon. And then I would also like to just carve out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, like a good like hour or two in between like 5 and 8, like just to really sit down and like
immerse myself in the material, and make sure that retaining as much as I can.
Awesome. Cool.
Breath, those cues. That's the thing I'm gonna work on this week.
Okay.
Really working on breath, those cues, and Sanskrit too.
Cool. When,
Well, so I'm actually gonna go to the gym today. And then I was thinking maybe like spend like 15 minutes just like working on the sections that we worked on today, working on that again. Just with myself, just practicing it, that section. And then like while I'll keep my phone in front of me so that I can, okay, breath, pose, cue, like say it to myself as I'm practicing it. So that way it's like, I get used to saying it, doing it, and then like, you know, Saturday, once I get home, it's laundry. Do a little bit steady, so.
awesome. Sounds good.
And then I'm gonna, I got it more steady to do like throughout the week, so.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm gonna go for in the morning before everything, do each section of the sequence. So starting with ones that I'm really not confident with, just kind of practicing doing it without my notes. Probably bring 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day. And then try to get it together with people this week and actually do adjustments.
Awesome.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right when I wake up and do the full, like, my full sequence. And then I want to go to 2 intern classes or, watch the recording online twice during the week.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. Way to go, everyone. That makes me so excited. Okay. I have sent an email to the posture clinic teachers, just clarifying we're clear on round robin and flower. So thanks for letting me know. I don't know where we got off track on that, but just so you all can have clear expectations moving forward with them. Otherwise, I won't see you for a couple of weeks, so be well and take care, come to my class. Yeah, and I'll let you out 10 minutes early. Got to do the word though.
Gonna say.
I know, okay. Well, we'll go in opposite order.
Does that mean I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh.
Oh, relax.
Grateful. Sounds good.
Persist.
Sky.
Fire.
Propel. I'll stick with persistence.
Focus.
Mine is fierce. Awesome. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon.
Well, yeah, if I'm going, I'll send it to the